Good evening, and welcome to the April 2nd, 2026 City Commission meeting. I want to call the meeting to order. We're going to start with invocation and Pledge of Allegiance by Jen, our City Attorney.
Let us begin this meeting by taking a brief moment of silence and reflection and lend our thoughts to Peter Kreuzinger on his recovery. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've got a few presentations here tonight. We're going to, obviously, it's a dead giveaway that we're all in kilts for the first one. 58th Highland Games and Festival Week proclamation. I will turn over to our Scottish liaison, none other than Commissioner Gow.
I love this time of year. Wonderful, wonderful. I would like to call forward Mark Brandmeier. Would you come forward, please? And you may invite anyone you would like to come with you.
I have Eric and Ian too, but that's up to you. Oh, got it. No worries.
Yeah, very excited. Oh, gentlemen, dang, that's a calendar right there. You guys look so good. Very good. Highland Games and Festival Week. Whereas in 1899, Scottish families settled in what is now known as the city of Dunedin. Whereas pleasant reminders of our Scottish heritage continue throughout the naming of our schools, shopping centers, streets, and buildings. And in 1967, the Highland Games were implemented to raise funds to support the three Scottish pipe bands of Dunedin: the City of Dunedin Pipe Band, the Dunedin High School Scottish Highlander Band, and the Dunedin Highland Middle School Band. And our continuing interest in Scottish heritage and customs is further reflected in the authentically clad bands, professionally trained bagpipers, and Highland dancers and athletes. And whereas in this year's 58th Annual Highland Games and Festival, we continue to pay tribute to our Scottish origin. And whereas we also pay tribute to this year's honorary chieftain for 2026, Mark Brandmeier.
Thank you very much.
We're not done yet.
Oh,
Now, therefore, I, Jeff Gow, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the mayor of the city of Dunedin, and on behalf of this entire city commission and gallery, do hereby recognize the 58th Annual Highland Games and Festival Week, commencing on Friday, April 10th, with the pipe bands march down through downtown Dunedin along Main Street and ending at John R. Lawrence Pioneer Park for a festival and gathering. The Highland Games will then take place on Saturday, April 11th at Highlander Park. We encourage all citizens to participate in the many activities planned for this very special tradition and occasion. And I'm going to take this one down, Mayor.
Okay.
as long as you've known me, I'm glad you didn't dig up any dirt. Okay. Oh, is it my turn now? Well, thank you very much. I'm very humbled to be here, and it was a very super pleasant surprise to have this job. I've been doing this for a long time. I love the city. It's a great place to live. Been here for a while. Raised the kids here. It's a perfect place to raise a family. And the pipe band has gotten so many friends through all those activities, through the schools and through the DPB afterwards. It's just really nice. So I'm honored to represent that, and the city is great. It really is a nice place.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Just a statement that the city bands and the school bands and students, lots of beginners this year, are all very excited and working hard for the competition. We're just shy of 150 soloists competing at Dunedin Highland Games, so it's going to be a wonderful day. So thank you very much for all of your support and volunteers.
We're looking forward to a fantastic event. I'm pretty excited that we've confirmed this week that I believe all commissioners and the mayor, city manager, as well as administration from both our middle school and high school and superintendent of Pinellas County Schools are all going to be in attendance at the Highland Games. It's kind of cool. I don't know of that many events in Dunedin where all those aspects of the community come together in support of our community, arts, culture, music, history, and tradition, but we are delighted that the Dunedin Games is that event. It takes a village, for sure. We have hundreds of volunteers who have come forward to help us, which we are incredibly appreciative of. And if anyone in here hasn't signed up to volunteer yet and you would like to help us, there are a few spots still available, and we will gladly accept your donation of time. DunedinHighlandGames.com, that's correct. Finally, we are really excited. Attendance should be beautiful. The weather looks like it's going to be a fantastic day. It's always a good sign when every weather app on your phone has an agreement on the forecast. That's a good thing. I am pleased to share that by the time we get to next Saturday, in the last 12 months, the Dunedin Scottish Arts Foundation will have invested around $140,000 in marketing to welcome visitors from all over North America to Dunedin and to attend our events at the Dunedin Scottish Arts Foundation, which I think makes us the largest marketer of Dunedin in our community, and we're very proud of that, so we're excited about that. Ticket sales have been very strong. I'm told that our hotels are full, so it should be a booming weekend in Dunedin. Thank you. Happy Highland Games.
Let's get a picture.
Thank you.
We need pictures.
Gotta have a picture.
Oh.
How's it happen if we don't get the picture?
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
And Mayor, if I may, as they make their way out. For the passion and the craziness that you think that I have for our Scottish culture and heritage, it is only equaled, if not second to, the passion that Mark Brandmeier has for the Scottish culture and heritage, and the amount of time, effort, passion, raising two girls in the pipe bands and in the Scottish community and soccer, and that's where we kind of connected with Chelsea and Lindsay and his two girls. And so it's just been a lifetime of working together with this Scottish culture heritage, and it's just, I can't be any more proud. Mark.
Trying to make us cry up here?
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. And congratulations, Mark. Okay, we're going to go to presentation of the 2026 Dunedin Mardi Gras Celebration Parade winners, and I think Alicia and Jory are coming up, and Jeanette Donahue's in there somewhere, and Danielle's coming up.
We're all coming up.
You're all coming up.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. My name is Alicia, Program Coordinator for Recreation. With me is Jeanette Donahue, the President of the Chamber of Commerce. I also have Jory Peterson, Program Coordinator for Special Events. And then I also have Danielle Edwards, also with Special Events. Okay, where was I? This year, the City of Dunedin collaborated with the Chamber to host the Mardi Gras event and parade on February 17th, 2026. This year, we had 47 units in the parade. The max capacity was 50, so we did pretty good. Our king is Isaac Wazilewski, and queen is Alice Marie Grip. The parade was successful because of many people who gave their time, talents, and energy. The Mardi Gras Parade Committee was myself, Stephanie Kinsinger, who is also the head lifeguard at the Highlander Pool, Jory Peterson, and also Danielle Edwards. Without them, we could not make that parade happen. So thank you to all of you. The City of Dunedin staff, which is going to be our, obviously, Parks and Recreation Department, our Parks Department was very integral in the setup and takedown, so it's just hands down for them. Public Services, Facility, and Traffic, our Sheriff's Department, our Fire Department, Engineering Department, and Communications. To our volunteers, our VIP drivers who escorted the King and Queen through the parade in style. To our Jolly Trolley for escorting our mayor and city commission through the parade, and also Pfeiffer Auto, who waited in case somebody's vehicle stalled out, which didn't happen, so I'm very excited about that. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jeanette, and she's going to go over the event.
Okay. Hi, Mayor. Hi, Commission. Jennifer. Hi, guys. Thank you for having us here. And on behalf of the Chamber staff, myself, Kayla, Vanessa, I just want to really take a moment to say thank you to the city and to the Commission for allowing us to collaborate to put on this great event together, especially our first year. And it was a huge success. In our first year, we had 67 vendors, we had 2 bands, and we approximated what I sent in our numbers, about 28,000 people. I'm so grateful that you helped us bring this event to life. Now I'm going to ask like I'm in the Oscars, but all my thank yous, but a special thank you to Jory and Danielle. I mean, they were fabulous, and I cannot say that enough. They walked us through everything, gave us maps, 3D map. It was amazing. I could not thank them enough. Kayla and I really appreciated all the work you guys did. To obviously the Parks and Rec, to the sheriffs, to the firefighter, everybody that was there was wonderful and so easy to work with. And it made it easy that it was a beautiful day. But on top of that, I also want to get a quick shout out to Michael Lynn, Andy, and Jason, who are my beer guys, and also helped me get new walkie-talkies, tables, cups, and everything in between, and of course the beer and wine, which makes this event fun. So finally, thank you to all our amazing volunteers. This event wouldn't have been possible without them. I'm incredibly proud to be part of this city. I've been going to Mardi Gras since I was in my early 20s, and I can't imagine not having it. So thank you for making this possible and for having it be very successful. To that, I look forward to next year. Thank you.
I'm just going to say something real quick. Can I say something? I'm budging in real quick. We didn't bring it tonight, but Jeanette, I have a gift for you, as well as the parade winners. It'll be a nice binder that has all of the information and logistics, and we'll be ready to hand it right over to you for next year.
I'm not going to take it yet.
But
good,
anyway,
You're good.
we received a very, very nice email from John Freeborn, and I failed to respond to it, so I'm going to read it because we don't often get to toot our own horns. And I just want to introduce, again, she calls her my better half. I call her my sidekick. But John Freeborn said, on behalf of our chamber staff, members, and board of directors, we want to thank you for your incredible job you did with the Mardi Gras event. Your partnership, contributions, coordination, organization, and timelessness once again positioned Dunedin as a leader among cities and communities. Your hard work and dedication are truly appreciated. A special thank you to Jory and Danielle, who were outstanding partners throughout the process. We truly value their teamwork and appreciate the leadership they bring on behalf of the city. So Tony, where are you, Tony? Tony first started when this was proposed, remember, in September? And I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, we can take on another parade, no big deal. Because rock stars like Alicia and Stephanie and our Parks and Rec department, sure, we got it, no big deal. But what we failed to realize is that we were also coordinating so many other events what was it, the following weekend was Welcome Back Blue Jays, golf cart parade, working on Highland Games, and then we're like, I said to myself at one time, I was like, what was I thinking? But we did it. And we did an awesome job. Way to go, team. And I'll be ready to hand over my binder to Jeanette.
All right, before we finish, we clearly have to talk about the winners, okay? There are some beautiful floats out there, so we have to recognize them. So without further ado, we are going to hand out the certificates. So for the best crew, it is the Thieves of San Lorenzo. Come on up.
Brooke, how do we want to do
Thank you for
pictures?
having
One-
us here. My name is Sandy. I'm the president of our crew this year. We are an all-female crew of 90 members throughout the whole Tampa Bay area, and we do mainly fun and charity. So our charity is Ronald McDonald House, the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay, and the Shriners. Those are our main ones. And we have our founder here today, Donna. She was our founder back in 1999. We love this parade. We've been doing this parade for many, many years, and we like it that you put it back on Tuesday. We love it. We invited friends and family this year, too. And so we had 70 people turn out for this, and it was a lot of fun. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, and thank you for this award. She's got some pins to hand out to y'all.
Thank you.
Hey, Jory, do we want to do pictures one at a time here, or
So do you want to have them stay here, up here?
how do you want to do it?
Do you want to do one whole big picture?
I don't know that we'll have enough. It'll be too big with everybody. There's
We've done firefighters in one big, but maybe one at a time. Let's do it.
Okay.
It might be easier. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be tricky.
I have maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one.
Do you want to stand on a chair?
Yes, go ahead. Here, I'll go here. I'll go here.
Mayor, can I be a little bit this way?
Got it.
Stand up there.
I know, I'm trying.
Got it.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Our next winner is for the best vehicle, and that is D&J Records. Come on up.
Thank you so much for, giving this to us. We are a record store in town, record, cassette, and CDs. And we love Dunedin, both me, I'm Daniela, and this is Jody. So we're the D&J Records. We have a lot of listening parties where a lot of young people come to. It's, we're very inspired by the young people, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
But we get older, we get all kinds. Everybody loves music, and our favorite thing to do is get that music into your hands. And let me introduce you to our crew. This is Nancy,
My sister-in-law,
her sister-in-law, Mark,
my brother,
her brother, Bob,
her father.
my father. It's a family affair. Did I forget anything?
No, I'm just saying, if you guys listen to our listening parties,
Yeah, check our Facebook and Instagram, and you can come join the fun. We have listening parties, like 4 a month. And Record Store Day is April 18th, big time.
and
Okay.
the listening parties give out free stuff, posters, stickers, no, stickers.
Yeah, we're having one for 420. It's going to be jazz. Let's legalize jazz. And it's going to be a really cool record.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Is there anything else? All right, thank you.
Let's get a picture, though.
Okay.
Oh, on this side?
Can I have you
guys take a little bit this way.
I was at your grand opening.
There we go. Perfect. And then stand forward just a tiny bit. Yeah. Perfect. You guys are great. All right. Ready? Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Sounds like a party, doesn't it? All right, our next group is the best handcrafted, and I can say from personal experience, it was amazing. And that is the Scottish American Society. Come on up.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, staff. A big thank you, obviously, to City staff and to the Chamber of Commerce for an amazing Mardi Gras event. We were very proud to participate, and it just goes to show that, as Mark said earlier on, this is a wonderful city, and even the Loch Ness Monster comes here for the winter. So that was the theme of our float. Dave and Jerry helped me put it together with 2 or 3 others, and we had an amazing, fun time that night. Nessie's going to continue. She's going to get older. She's going to get better, and we'll participate in as many things as we can. Delighted to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and our best overall, I'm not sure if they're here tonight, but it is Blur. Let's see, are they here tonight?
I haven't seen them out there.
Okay. It is their anniversary, so I do understand. We can drop it off to them. Before I go, I wanted to say something very special. Today is Miss Jory Peterson's birthday.
Oh!
She is celebrating the anniversary of her 21st birthday again, so. All right, thank you so much, and if we could do
So how bad do you want to be embarrassed, Jory? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jory. Happy birthday to you. Okay, here we go.
Commissioner, do you want a tiny bit this way? Oh, you're good. No, I was getting him. Yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, good for the golf course. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. Okay, we have a very special proclamation now, Red Star City, and I'm going to let everybody leave or sit down before I start this one. Okay, Red Star City, and I'm turning that over to our veteran, Vice Mayor Walker. The Navy, submarines.
Thank you, Mayor. I do see a number of veterans in the audience. Can I get you all to come forward? This is a particularly special proclamation in that this proclamation designates Dunedin as the second Gold Star city in the state of Florida.
Red Star.
Red Star. Red Star city in the state of Florida. And, you know, when you look at these numbers, you look at the numbers of our brother-in-arms, our veterans, our first responders, who died by suicide every year. You have to understand this is unacceptable. And what that means to me is that we need to do more. And I think this is a great first step. And it's fitting that we're doing this here in Dunedin because the city of Dunedin has always supported our veteran community to the nth degree. We're the first Purple Heart city. We have a commemoration arch that recognizes our Dunedin servicemen. And so it is with absolute pride and honor that I read this proclamation. Red Star City Proclamation. Whereas the Red Star Foundation, a dedicated 501c3 nonprofit organization, is a nationwide organization dedicated to honoring and supporting the families and loved ones of military members, veterans, and first responders who have tragically lost a loved one to suicide. And the mental health crisis among military personnel, veterans, and first responders has reached epidemic proportions, with approximately 500 active duty service members, 8,000 veterans, and 500 first responders dying by suicide each year. And these fallen heroes leave behind grieving families known as Red Star families who carry the burden of loss while striving to honor their loved ones' service and sacrifice. And the city of Dunedin recognizes the sacrifices made not only by those who served in uniform, but also their families, who endure the lasting impact of their loss. And the city of Dunedin, supported by the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Military Order of Purple Heart, stands committed to raising awareness, providing support, and fostering a community of remembrance, healing, and advocacy to combat military, veteran, and first responder suicide. In partnership with the Red Star Foundation, the City of Dunedin pledges to honor Red Star families and promote suicide awareness and prevention efforts. Now therefore I, Robert James Walker, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Mayor of the City of Dunedin, Florida, and on behalf of the entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim Dunedin as a Red Star city, henceforth recognizing March 21st as Red Star Families Day, demonstrating commitment to supporting Red Star families, advocating for suicide prevention, and ensuring that the sacrifices of our heroes and their families are never forgotten. Ordinarily, I'd come down and hand it to you, but it'll take me 45 minutes to get there. Thank you, Jerry.
Is the button down?
Here, test.
There we go, Jerry. Good job.
Before I introduce Jerry Schaefer, I just want to tell you that I wish that I was a better wordsmith to tell you how so damn proud I am of this city at this moment for having recognized the importance and the significance of what we have just done by making us the second Red Star city in America. We always say that when a soldier is deployed into battle, the entire family is deployed. And if tragically a soldier dies in battle, the pain to that family is somewhat tempered by the notion that he died honorably in defense of his country. But when a battlefield soldier commits suicide, it's not the same. There are no parades. There are no letters from the president. There's no folded American flag. The family is left to their own devices. And there never has been a time until now, and thanks to the person I'm about to introduce, that there's been any kind of support system, both governmentally or socially or even locally, for the families of suicide victims. So I am so proud to introduce the man that recognized that there was a void and didn't sit on his hands but moved forward to make a difference. I have in my hands a check for $1,000, which is our part in becoming a Red Star family. One of the great things about this check, by the way, it doesn't come from one person. I am so proud to say that 4 of us participated in this check, and it shows the global participation of our community. It comes first from myself, and then Father Swick said, absolutely, I want to participate in this, so we shared in it. Commissioner Walker said, I'm sorry, but I have to be part of this. And then last week, I get a call from Mayor Mo saying it would be my honor to be part of it. Huh? And Beth, yes. So, Jerry, here, my friend, here is a check for $1,000 from the city of Dunedin. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce the person who has made a difference in the lives of so many of our veterans' families who have lost loved ones to suicide. So again, it's my honor to introduce my friend, my brother, a United States Marine, Jerry Schaefer.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jerry Schaefer. I am the CEO of the Red Star Foundation. To my left, I have one of our board members, Greg Tiley, and to my right, second right over here, is Father Bob Swick, which you all know, who is also a board member and our chaplain. First, I'd like to start out by thanking Mayor Freeney and Vice Mayor Rob Walker. Thank you for the courage that you have to put this vision forward in making Dunedin a Red Star city. I'd also like to thank the entire commission here. Thank you for allowing this to happen. Thank you for speaking up and being a voice for those that have lost a loved one to suicide. I'd also like to thank Rob Cozen and the City of Dunedin Military and Advisory Committee, who spearheaded this initiative. Lastly, I would like to thank the great and very patriotic people of Dunedin for your support. You continue to lead by example, and you take care of your veterans. The Red Star Foundation mission is to eradicate military, veteran, and first responder suicide, and to help support the families that have suffered a suicide. In the same blueprint as the Gold Star families, this is a Gold Star banner that is given to the next of kin of the family that has lost someone that's killed in action. We created the Red Star banner. This is the Red Star banner, and this is given to the next of kin to a family that has suffered a suicide loss of military, veteran, and first responders. 44 veterans die every single day. Not 22, not 17, but 44. America's Warrior Partnership released a 5-year deep dive study last year, and the number was 44. That comes out to 16,000 veterans a year. On top of that, you have 500 current military, 500 first responders that die by suicide annually. Every single suicide, doesn't matter if it's veteran related or not, every single suicide impacts 135 people on average. Family members, friends, co-workers, neighbors, etc. 135 people. Just in the community that we are working with, that's over 2 million people impacted by suicide annually. 2 million people that don't have a support system. And that's what we're working on here. That's what we're looking to build. Suicide brings a stigma, shame, and guilt. We are working to build a peer-to-peer network around the country that will stop that will help them heal, that will bring these families that have suffered the same type of loss together so that they can heal, not only for them to heal, but their families to heal. Another important statistic is if you've suffered a suicide loss in your family, the risk of suicide for you and your family members are 3 times higher. We're not only trying to reduce the risk of veterans and military and first responders, but also the families of those. So That's why we're becoming a Red Star city. To break the stigma and normalize the conversations around suicide is so important. Thank you again for taking this very big step. May God bless each one of you, and may God bless the city of Dunedin. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
We'll get this banner out too.
Let's get our picture. Yeah, we'll get our picture. I'm waiting for you, Jerry. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. Anything. So I do want to recognize our Parks and Recreation Director, Tony Mulkey. Am I saying it right? I'm getting used to the last name. But anyway, Tony kind of came in and pulled it all together as we were trying to do it all. So thank you, Tony, for making that happen. Appreciate it. And thank you very much for all you guys do. This is such a great cause. Love you all.
Love you. Thank you all.
Okay. We are going to go to our final proclamation, which is National Tartan Day Proclamation, April 6, 2026, and I will turn to Commissioner Dugard.
Thank you, Mayor. For those that are still here wearing a tartan, please come forward. It's National Tartan Day.
And I think Joan might be the acceptor.
Joan, come on up.
Okay.
Alan, come on up, all of you. Let's make it a celebration. What do you think? Excellent.
We have our posse here. All right.
I like the thunder in the background. Gives it a little
Like
flavor.
the rain.
Whereas National Tartan Day was declared by the U.S. Senate Resolution 144 to honor the role that Scottish Americans played in the founding of our nation, America's ties to Scotland are great. Almost half of the signers of the American Declaration of Independence, which was based on Scotland's 1320 Declaration of, and I'm going to probably butcher this, Arbroath, and 34 of the 45 U.S. presidents have been of Scottish descent. And whereas Florida has a rich history of Scottish influence, as reflected in the culture and in the names of many of its counties, towns, cities, including Dunedin, which was founded by two Scotsmen, J.O. Douglas and James Somerville. And whereas Florida was the home of some of the famous Scottish descendants and many residents such as Thomas Edison,
I'm all right.
Ernest Hemingway, Henry Flagler, Andrew Carnegie, and the Seminole Indian chief Osceola. And whereas we celebrate the spirit and character of Scottish Americans and recognize their many contributions to our culture and way of life and strive to promote Scottish traditions internationally through sister city relationships with Stirling, Scotland, and whereas Dunedin encourages its youth to embrace Scottish traditions through the art of Highland dance and the music of pipes and drums in their middle and high school pipe bands, and whereas no fewer than 10 Highland Games and Celtic festivals are held each year throughout the state, including Dunedin, where people from all over the world attend. And whereas we commend the organizations in Dunedin who honor Scottish heritage, traditions, and culture, such as the Scottish American Society, Scottish American Military Society, the Dunedin Scottish Arts Foundation, and the New World Celts. Now, therefore, I, Tom Dugard, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the mayor of the city of Dunedin, Florida, and on behalf of the entire city commission, do hereby proclaim April 6th, 2026 as National Tartan Day in Dunedin, and urge our citizens to observe this holiday by celebrating the continued friendship between the people of Scotland and the United States, and recognize the contributions of Scottish Americans to our nation, the state of Florida, and the great city of Dunedin. Who's gonna accept? There we go. I put the pretty one up here for it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joan McHale. I'm the president of the Scottish American Society of Dunedin. And I'm up here with my board of directors, Dave, Alan, Jerry, and our newest member, Ian Craig. Where's Debbie?
She's back there.
Oh, Debbie didn't come up. Debbie's a member. Come on, Debbie. That's okay. That's okay. I'm happy to accept this proclamation on behalf of the SAS and our members. And as that proclamation states, Tartan Day recognizes the contributions of the Scottish Americans and and the Foundation of America. Here in America, here in Dunedin, we celebrate Scottishness quite a bit, and I love seeing you all in your kilts tonight. We have a week of events kicking off tonight with this formal proclamation. On Saturday, we are having a Scottish event. It's a Scottish heritage event. It's free to attend. We've got plenty of topics to talk about. We've got free samples of Scottish foods and music and drink. We often get asked, what's Scottish about Dunedin? So we're going to tell you on Saturday. Tuesday, we've got a concert with a band coming from Scotland. They're one of the most famous traditional music bands in Scotland. They're called Breabach. And that leads up to next Friday and Saturday. We are participating in the parade on Friday night, and also in the games on Saturday. We have a couple of tents for our members to come and enjoy and watch. So the note about I want to tie into the VFW, where they just had they accepted that proclamation. Over the past year, we've had several members of the VFW join us. They're a lot of fun, they're enthusiastic, they come to all our happy hours. Well, what they've done is they've designed their own tartan, and they've purchased kilts, and they're gonna march with us in the parade. So it's a great bunch of people, and it was quite timely that you mentioned that. Last year, Ellen and I went to New York City, and we marched in the Tartan Day Parade there. And next month, we're going to Scotland, and we're gonna march in the Tartan Day Parade in Edinburgh, all representing the city of Dunedin and the Scottish American Society. So that's it. I just want to thank you for your recognition of the Scottish arts and support.
Let's get a picture.
Thank you.
I do want to recognize in the audience tonight is Colin and Elsbeth are here. They're former provost of Stirling. You guys want to stand and be recognized? They're Dunedin part-time visitors, but they're back now from Scotland. So. Okay, we're going to actually try to get into some real meeting stuff here. We got, that was important stuff, though. It's hard to keep it down to, try to keep it down to 3, but it was hard to do tonight. Next couple of weeks, we've got a lot, but they're important. Citizen input. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak on a topic that is not on the agenda? This would be the time to come forward. Okay, seeing no one, I will close citizen input. We'll go to consent agenda, and I'll read through these. We've got approval of the minutes for the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting, February 19th, 2026 regular meeting. We have board and committee appointments for Committee on Environmental Quality and Sustainability, Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, Library Advisory Committee. We also have 2C, which is RFP number 25-2535, Loan Grant Administration and Compliance Services. Does anyone wish to pull any of those items? Okay, then I would need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second that.
And is anyone in the audience wish to come forward and speak to any of the items on the consent agenda? Seeing no one, I will close public input. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and motion, any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, we'll go to action items. Our first action item, consideration and approval of Resolution 26-04 of the City of Dunedin, Florida, approving a Skinner Boulevard landscaping and irrigation maintenance memorandum of agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation. Jen, could you please read Resolution 26-04 by title only?
Resolution 26-04, resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, authorizing the execution of the Highway Landscape Maintenance Memorandum of Agreement between the State of Florida Department of Transportation and the city for landscaping and irrigation system operation, maintenance, and cost of water within the right-of-way on Skinner Boulevard, State Road 580 between Bass Boulevard, Main Street, and Broadway, alternate US 19, and providing for an effective date. That was Resolution 2604, read by title only.
Okay, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And staff presentation, Bob and Matt, I'll turn to you.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It's Bob Ironsmith and Matt Jackson from Economic Development. This is continuing with the process for the Skinner Complete Streets project. Obviously, that's 4 lanes to 2 lanes, the 2 roundabouts. We have the bike lanes and the sidewalk. Everything looks pretty good. But the next step is really going forward with landscaping and underground utilities. And Matt Jackson's going to go through a little bit of PowerPoint on the landscaping. He's been dealing with DOT. This is an important element. This is the maintenance agreement that will continue forward after DOT gets it in. So at this point in time, I'd really like to turn it over to Matt. He's going to go ahead and run through it. He's got some graphics that'll show what's going to happen in the roundtable. And of course, we also have DOT representative here too. So Matt.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening, Commission. Matt Jackson, Economic Development Manager. Glad to be here tonight. Yes, as Bob talked about, we're speaking tonight on the next phase of the Skinner Boulevard improvements. It is the landscape and irrigation. This is a Florida Department of Transportation project. As part of that project, there will be a memorandum of agreement for maintenance of the landscape and irrigation improvements. Maintenance that the City of Dunedin will take on. As part of the agreement, we'll be responsible for things such as very typical things, mowing, watering, fertilizing, irrigation maintenance, and weed control. We did contact Parks and Recreation regarding the annual cost for that maintenance. That's going to be approximately $15,000. Regarding the timeline of the project, the bid letting will happen next week, April 8th by DOT, with an expected bid award May to June of this year. After that, the installation should start in fall of this year, wrapping up at the latest spring of 27. This is important. As part of this project, there will be a 2-year establishment period for the landscaping. During that time, DOT and their contractor will be responsible for the maintenance. It's not until after the project is finally accepted by DOT that the transfer of the maintenance would come to the City of Dunedin. We contacted DOT, and the approximate cost for these improvements is $1.1 million contributed by DOT. Very thankful for this partnership. And on this slide, what staff wanted to do is provide a visual representation of some of the landscaping that you would see in the area on Skinner Boulevard, but specific to the roundabouts, which are probably going to be the focal points. And there's going to be a variety of palm trees, bushes, and ground covers. This landscaping is going to be part of a Florida-friendly plant palette, well suited to the local climate, offering drought tolerance and low maintenance characteristics. which would result in reducing long-term irrigation and upkeep costs. The design is going to create an aesthetically pleasing, vibrant environment that enhances the visual appeal of the area while maintaining clear sight lines and non-distracting driver environment. Again, we're very excited about this project, and we do recommend approval and execution of the agreement and the associated resolution. We're happy to answer any questions. We do also have Emily here from DOT, the landscape architect and project manager, as well as Tony Mulkey, the Parks and Recreation Director.
Okay, questions for staff, starting with Commissioner Gao.
Thank you, Mayor. With climate change and summers getting hotter almost year-round now, why aren't there any shade trees on the list?
There are shade trees proposed, just not within the roundabouts. There's a variety of elm trees, oak trees, Eagleson hollies proposed, just not right within the roundabouts, more in the medians and on the northern and southern landscaped areas on the right-of-way.
Okay, so this proposal before us tonight isn't for the entire Skinner Boulevard?
The proposal is, yes, for the entire Skinner Boulevard. We didn't have a 3D or a color visual for the entire area, so what we wanted to do is provide at least some representation visually of what will be planted, and we focused in on the roundabouts, which will kind of be the focal point that we expect.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner DeGard, questions?
So we're not seeing the complete landscaping of the project at this time. We're just seeing some representations. Is that correct?
The complete landscape plans are part of the agenda packet.
Okay.
But it's more just your 2D black and white showing where all the landscape plantings are with the symbols. We also just wanted to have a visual representation of what you would see out there.
Okay. Are we going to see any of the larger palms in the center of the roundabouts? Is that what we're going to see?
Yes, so on the slide in front of you, the royal palm, there will be one large in the center roundabouts, and then with the other smaller palms also within the roundabouts.
Okay. No further questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor, questions?
Thank you, Mayor. So in terms of the signage and everything, because this really is establishing a brand new gateway for the great city of Dunedin, and I'm just curious, what's the plan for the signage? Because I don't know how you do the landscaping without kind of understanding what the signage is going to look like.
Are you asking about the existing signage now, how that's going to interact with the landscaping?
Yeah, I think that's my question, yeah.
I will let Emily better answer that with DOT, but it's our understanding they took that into account when designing the plantings.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to come up to the mic.
Yeah, please.
You'd probably rather not, I know, but if you could just give your name and position for the record, that'd be great.
Good evening. I'm Livette De Gaetano. I'm with Patel Green and Associates, but I am a consultant for FDOT District 7. I serve as their district landscape architect. And in terms of the design, the landscape architect of record coordinated extensively with the folks that designed the roadway improvements. So any of the elements that you see out there today, the signage, the lighting, everything, that was all coordinated very intimately with the project. We were also in coordination with the FDOT project manager / the gentleman that was in charge of the construction administration during when they implemented the roadway project. So the design that was included in your packet, which is really the construction plans, because we're kind of beyond conceptual, like we're about to let this for bid next week. This is just kind of the final step, is getting this maintenance agreements implemented. But all of those details were coordinated extensively. The plant material that you see here, along with all the other plant material for the entire corridor, was coordinated extensively with the city. There was a lot of input, and really a lot of the plant, actually the whole plant palette was vetted and selected and thoroughly coordinated with the city of Dunedin.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Second thing, just in terms of the irrigation, I'm assuming that this part of the improvement on Skinner, it's all irrigated with reclaimed water now, is that?
Correct, correct, Vice Mayor, yeah, all reclaimed.
Okay. That's what-
Yeah, and the other aspect too, Emily kind of mentioned, clear sight. We're going to make sure we have clear sight triangles too with all the landscaping that's going in for, vehicular access, turning movements and things of that nature. Too,
Okay.
so.
Commissioner Sandbergen?
Will there be any type of lighting around there to sort of show the diagram or to show the roundabout is there? Will there be any lighting, any landscape lighting in there at all?
This project does not propose aesthetic lighting. You mean like uplights and all
Yeah,
that? No,
yeah.
that, it does not propose that.
Okay, and I hope the answer is what I want to hear. The water lines have already been run to the,
Yes.
so we're not going to cut the street?
Correct.
Okay,
That was all
okay.
coordinated during the
Okay.
roadway. That was one of the things that, so the irrigation sleeves, the actual soil that's within the medians, all of that was excavated. They put the
Okay.
proper soils because they knew we were following with this project.
So I think to jump on what was said to my left, you did take into consideration the drought-resistant, low maintenance because of it's going to be out in the direct sun, okay?
Correct. I mean, and again, that was, we used the plant material that was actually selected by the city.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think the other thing too, Parks gave a lot of input too on what has survived well in
Sure.
our downtown. So it was
Okay.
very much as.
And I was going to ask, so
vetted.
was the city arborist brought in at all?
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes.
Rick was.
Okay, good.
Tony was. Joe here was. Everybody was brought in.
Good, that's all I had, thank you.
Okay, I just have one question, and I'll just ask all of you. Is it going to look amazing?
I think it's going to look fantastic. I can't wait.
Okay.
I'm so excited. It looks so dead now, so I can't wait to
Good.
drive and see it. Yeah, I think it will, but I'm
Yeah.
partially biased.
I think
Bob, Joe, Tony?
Yeah, I think DOT put in 1.1 million. This is going to be of a higher level than
commitment.
typically DOT does. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
this
is.
is going to look pretty good. They understood this is a DOT project, but it's in our downtown. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a high level.
You guys want to add anything over here?
Thank you. Good evening, Commission and public. Tony Mulkey, Parks and Recreation Director. Just like to add one little detail on here. In the site plans that you have, it does show the larger trees and the different layers and design rather than the slide here. But like if you look at the lower left on the slide here, that picture number 2 of a Bismarck palm, that's not what's spec'd in here. It's a 10-foot clear
It's gonna be
trunk.
a
So these are
robust-
much more mature trees than what you're seeing here too.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, I don't have any other questions. I'm going to open to public input. Anyone in the audience wish to speak on this issue? Come forward now. Seeing no one, I will close public input, and we'll go to commission comments. And so, Emily, you can probably sit down, but thank you very much for that.
Good job, Emily. Thank you.
Okay, commission comments. I'll start with the maker of the motion, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Really, no comments. Obviously, this is representing the gateway to the great city of Dunedin, and I got to tell you, I think collectively, we're all very excited about this. So anyway, well done to getting us to this point. So thank you.
Okay, and seconder of the motion was Commissioner DeGard.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we're all excited to get to the finish line on this project. It's been a long-term project. What's been fascinating for me as a new commissioner is to watch the cycle of how the community responds to this. Everybody was kind of going, really, roundabouts? And now, I think we've converted a lot of people to the concept of roundabouts. And when we finally get it spiffed up, well-planted, and pretty, I think this is going to be a signature project we can all be proud of. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Sandbergen, final comments?
No, it's a gateway to that Highland and Douglas. Long time coming. I'm very excited about this, so thank you.
Commissioner Gao, final comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I've championed this complete street since its inception. It's what Dunedin needs. The county needs and the region needs. So it's nice that we get to be a leader in this. And here we are at the finish line. And certainly one of the drums that I beat is walkability. I talk about it all day, every day. And that is what this project brings, right? It brings walkability, and And to me, I thought it was the first opportunity to really shed light on pedestrians and bicyclists and those smaller, slower forms of transportation. But in order for that to be a success, they need shade. And you had time to present this presentation and show it. So you were showing us the best of what you thought was going to be there, and there isn't one shade tree that's there. Now you're telling me on the back end, oh, they're in this other schedule and we won't have them, but I have zero confidence that we'll have enough to make a difference. So I cannot support this, and it's so disappointing personally to me because I want to support this so badly. But this, summers are getting hotter. Gas, we've seen gas prices now, and I know that's short term because of where we are, but oil's an issue, gas is an issue. People are going to be walking more. People are going to choose those smaller forms of transportation. We have to embrace them and give them the opportunity to walk. And it is so incredibly hot that it's going to make them hard to choose that. And we want that to be a true option. And I don't see it in the landscaping that I'm seeing tonight. So my apologies, but I will be voting no on this.
So Emily, can you help? Is there going to be a lot of shade in some of those other areas?
If I may. So when the roadway was being designed, so the phase before mine, we did do an analysis along the corridor adjacent to the trails where they expanded the sidewalk. And the main, very first thing we looked at was how can we get shade trees along the trail. The challenge with this corridor is that it's a very tight right-of-way, and right adjacent to that sidewalk where we extended it, it's so many utilities. And so we explored using soil vaults. We explored, we tried to look at all the available options to try and incorporate shade trees along the trail with the trees. And they're just simply, it was just too constrained. We didn't have the space laterally, and underground, it was just too many utilities. And had the utilities been laid out perfectly straight, we would have been able to work around them, but they were all over the place. And so that was really and truly the main challenge. Now, they do have shade trees. I know you don't see it on the pictures, but the contract plans that are going to be letting next week, they do incorporate them. They're just not going to be in a perfect row along the trail because we simply didn't have the room to install these types of trees. And you also have to consider long-term maintenance. If we had been able to squeeze one end between the right-of-way and the walk, now you have to start thinking, okay, root systems, bringing up the trail, it's a concrete wide walk. So there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you put a large tree adjacent to the trail. And there's also structures and all that, but we just didn't have the space along the trail, at least on that side. And on the other side, we also have the businesses. It's just a very, very tight corridor. So where we could fit them, we did, like especially in the wider medians, like the very first median as you're coming in from, I guess, I'm trying to.
19?
Yeah, the wider median that's kind of closer to the actual Pinellas Trail. There's some trees in there. There's some trees on the sides where we have a little bit, like a little wider right-of-way. They're just not lining the entire corridor, unfortunately, because we just didn't have the room to plant them.
There's 4 or 5 too by the gateway.
Yes, and by the gateway as well.
There's 4 or 5 trees right there, shade trees.
No, thanks.
And then on the very, very narrow median, originally it was going to be just shrubs, because we prepared a concept plan as a part of the roadway that our landscape architect of record took and basically converted into these plans. He refined them and added more to them. And so we tried to squeeze trees wherever we could, but it's a tight right-of-way. So, we did try, and I just wanted to kind of echo that, because I believe me, I use your trail. I don't live that far from here. I love it. I love this area, and I completely, wholeheartedly agree, but we did our best to try and get shade where we could.
Thanks,
So
Emily.
for what it's worth, there was an effort, and we did work that through.
Thank you.
We did the best we could.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate that. My final comments is just, I want to thank the staff for all the hard work in this, everyone, and a big thanks to Florida Department of Transportation. This has been a great partnership. I wanted the roundabouts from the beginning. There was mixed views on it, but I'll tell you what, I get compliments all the time. People love those roundabouts, and I think the landscaping we'll just add to it. So appreciate all that. And
Mayor,
okay.
if I may, excuse me,
Sure,
if I may
go
add
ahead.
too, this all started with a $100,000 grant from Ford Pinellas in 2017. And then several years later, we got $1 million grant from Ford Pinellas. And of course, DOT has contributed tremendous, and PSTA is also doing a partnership with us. So there's going to be a lot of partnerships along the way to get to where we are
So
today.
total cost of the project was what?
We're around $14 million, and I think.
And how much did the city of Dunedin pay?
Oh, geez, I have to get the exact numbers for you, but DOT is the heavy hitter on this by far. So we got, I think we got 2.5 in there. I'd have to ask Les.
2.5 out of 14 million is what
Correct.
we
I think-
spent?
Yeah, but I want to check on that. Before.
Yeah, that's fine, but I
Probably
just
check
think,
on it.
I just think it's good for the citizens to understand the value of those partnerships.
It's
And
heavily leveraged.
right, it is. So thank you. Okay, we're going to go to roll call vote, and go ahead.
Commissioner Sandbergen.
Aye.
Commissioner Gao.
No.
Commissioner Dugard.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walker.
Aye.
And Mayor Franny.
Aye, and that motion passes 4-1. Okay, we're going to go to, and thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the next item, 3B, authorized task order number 2026-01 for sanitary sewer cured in place pipe lining to Vortex Services LLC in the amount of $899,834. Staff presentation. You got to be kidding me. We got Isaac up here doing a presentation with Clay. Well, Isaac, is this the first time you presented
This is.
as a city staffer? Yeah, very
Absolutely.
good. Alshe's here to support you, which is nice. So,
Thank you.
So go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Isaac Wazalewski, engineer, and I'm joined this evening with Clay Watkins, Director of Utilities Engineering, for item 3B, authorized task order number 2026-01 for sanitary sewer cured in place pipe lining to Vortex Services LLC in the amount of $899,834. Pipelining is a yearly capital improvement project. In order to quickly address issues as they arise or are discovered, the task order process allows us to line as necessary. Whether that is 20 feet or 2,000 feet, the price per foot is fixed. This contract process was competitively bid as a continuing services contract, which was subsequently awarded to Vortex Services LLC at the January 22nd, 2026 Commission meeting. Vortex has performed this type of work in the city before and to our satisfaction. CIPP lining extends the service life of existing gravity sewer and stormwater pipes up to an additional 50 years. It does not require excavation of streets and right-of-ways. Pipes are accessed and lined through manholes. Line pipes reduce groundwater from making its way into the sewer system, which consumes treatment capacity at the wastewater treatment plant and increases treatment expenses. This task order is for approximately 11,500 linear feet of 8-inch sewer mains and 33 6-inch sewer laterals in the Fairway Estate neighborhood, as shown on the map included in the packet in Exhibit A. This area was selected due to the amount of infiltration and inflows, as well as based on inspection and evaluation by the wastewater team. As such, staff hereby recommends issuance of task order number 2026-01 in the amount of $899,834 for sanitary sewer CIPP lining to Vortex Services LLC of Riverview, Florida, as detailed herein. We are here to answer any questions.
Okay, questions for Isaac or Clay? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a heck of a lot of questions. We go through this one every year. And, I'm absolutely fascinated by the engineering process of this. But I guess there is one question. So, you know, once we award this, how does particular properties and sites get prioritized in terms of getting the work done?
So referring to lining in general or this specific task order in this neighborhood?
Well, actually, so this is neighborhood specific?
This one happens to be, but for example, I'm actually working on a second task order that our wastewater team found that there was some real bad deterioration off of the Causeway Boulevard. Prior years, that would have, if it wasn't kind of included in that whole bundle and all that expense for that year was spent, it would have to be either funds from another area shifted to cover that and rebid, or be included in next year's. Given that this task order process allows us to take the funds that we have for pipelining, and as needs arise during inspection or if someone calls or notices something, we can then prioritize as we go throughout the year.
Okay, perfect. All right. I have no further questions.
Commissioner Sandbergen, questions?
Isaac, I think you answered two of mine. You said no disruption to the residents?
Correct.
Okay, and then the job was bid, now I remember.
Yes, it was.
You know, looking at that specific map you have up, if you Fairway, and this appears to run, east-west, if you come down Harrison or Armour or Mangrum, it looks like that green line stops. What about, like, for example, those two houses on the end of Mangrum? Why wouldn't that extend all the way past theirs?
So if you're, Commissioner, Clayton Watkins, Utilities and Engineering, sorry. So if you're looking at what's on the screen, whoops, and I moved it, it actually, because that's where the pipe, the sanitary sewer is laid, so some of the streets, due to the elevation, it might actually just go the other direction. So there's just not sewer in that location.
Okay. And I noticed in the 8-inch pipe and the 6-inch, it's a different amount of material that's installed. 6 millimeter in the 8-inch, was it 4 millimeter in the 6-inch? I know there was a difference.
Correct.
Is that manufacturer standard, or is that, how did we arrive at that amount?
That is from the manufacturer, and it's also based on the use of the pipe. So the thicker material is on the mains itself, while the thinner material is what comes from the house to the main. Okay. So the amount of usage is quite different between the two.
Yeah. Thanks, Isaac. That's good, Mayor.
Okay, questions, Commissioner Gao?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Well done, Isaac. You're doing good. I like it.
Halfway there?
Yeah, and as Vice Mayor said, this is something we talk about every year. But for the residents, just if you can give us a quick just rundown on what is the lining, what's that process? What can they expect to see outside their front windows?
Certainly. So if they're looking at the pipelining process, they'll notice that there's going to be a utility truck at a manhole, and then there will be on the other end of the manhole, or under the end of that run, another manhole, a receiving crew. And so what the pipelining looks like is it's kind of like a sleeve that gets run into the sewer pipe. And once it's installed in the sewer pipe, it will then be blown up like a balloon to kind of seal the entire inside of the pipe. And then it's heat cured. So there's actually a resin in there. That heat will then activate it and allow it to fill any voids and harden. And so other than potential traffic disruption of going around the trucks, they won't really notice any difference. After the resin is cured, Vortex will come back, and then they will actually cut out the openings for all the laterals that go into it. So definitely there's going to be like hang tags that goes, or door tags that goes on all the residents to let them know what's going on. And then also that just to make sure that if there's an issue, for example, perhaps a lateral was not cut, Vortex has done a pretty good job of making sure they do come back, and we do require that they have a CCTV go through the pipe and they measure where it is at to make sure that they have cut anything. But should there be any issues, they would have that information to make sure that they can reach out to someone to get it addressed promptly.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom Mayor.
Okay, questions, Commissioner DeGard?
Thank you. What kind of extended life are we going to get out of this?
So industry says 50 to 60 years. We peg it around 50 years. They can be relined if need be, but I don't believe we've had any that required relining.
Not to my knowledge. I mean, it does slightly reduce the capacity of the pipe each time you do that, but on these 8-inch pipes, it's usually not a worry.
Well, I'm not going to be around for it too, Rick, I'll tell you. That's incredible, 50 years. That was my only question that wasn't asked. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I don't have any questions at all? I think you nailed it, so it's
Thank
all
you.
good. So I will open up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to come forward on this issue? Okay, seeing no one coming forward, I'll close public input. I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Vice Mayor and,
Give it to Steve.
oh, Steve, okay, then Commissioner Sandberg. Then I got Dugard for second, or you for second?
There. Tom.
Okay, got this. Okay. Okay, so final comments, starting with the maker of the motion, Commissioner Sandberg.
All I want to say is I appreciate maintaining and, keeping that valuable infrastructure. It's nice to sit here tonight and be proactive instead of sit here some other night and being reactive. So thank you. It's good to see you again. I got to say, the first time I ran into Isaac, I saw him at the marina. I spent time down there. And I said, geez, I haven't seen you in a long time. What have you been doing? So thank you. Of course.
Okay, seconder of the motion, final comments, Commissioner Dugard.
How do you get Marina into every one of your comments?
He does.
This has had nothing to do with the marina. This is a great investment. This is a great project. 50 years, are you kidding me? You might not even be here if these things go bad. It's a good project. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Gao, final comments?
Yeah, just when you look at the price of this, even at $1 million, what the cost would be to replace those pipes, and is just outstanding. So this is such a good project on showing residents our stewardship over our finances. So this is just wonderful. Thank you all very much.
Okay, final comments, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I think you could probably bring the marina into every discussion that we have here. So, great job, Isaac, and yep, looking forward. Let's get started.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got nothing to add to that. I mean, great project, good use of money, and great job for presentation. So
Thank you.
let us, I think this is a voice vote, right? Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we have a decision. Do you want to take a break now or do the next one and take a break before the public hearing on the development project? I say go. I say we, yeah, okay, let's get the next one down and we'll leave the longer one. Okay, so 3C, consideration and approval of First Amendment to the interlocal agreement between the City of Dunedin and Pinellas County for the commitment of tax increment revenues to the City of Dunedin Community Redevelopment District for the Midtown Parking Garage. We'll go to staff presentation. Bob and Les and Matt.
Yep, Mayor Commissioner Bob Ironsmith, Economic Development Director. I got Matt Jackson to my left, also Economic Development Manager, and Les Tyler, Finance Director. What I'd like to do first is just talk a little bit about the CRA, some of the aspects to it, and where we were with that property purchase. The first thing to know, it's a community redevelopment district. Okay, we're 217 acres. Our focus is to revitalize the downtown. Our partner is Pinellas County. And has been since 1988 when the CRA was initiated. The important part there is that Pinellas County provides funding as well as the redevelopment district to move forward with public improvements. What we have tonight is we want to go forward with the proposed parking garage. The property there was purchased at Douglas in Scotland for a garage. We feel a downtown garage is very necessary with the at-risk leased lots starting to move away. We also want to get a centralized parking garage. And of course, the recent project with the Main Street Exchange, we're going to lose probably 55 to 60 spaces there. So I think it's very important for us to continue to move forward. What today is to go ahead and deliberate on an interlocal agreement with Pinellas County. When you look to take on debt or assume debt, you also need to go to your partner, which is Pinellas County, asking for their approval. So today is really just step one for the City of Dunedin to look at the interlocal agreement and go ahead and recommend approval for it. But what I want to do is just share a couple items with you so you get an understanding. There is an existing agreement in place. If Matt, hit the next slide for me. This obviously is the rendering. You've seen this many times. And of course, this is up there too in our project pages. This is the Midtown Parking Garage. The Commissioner approved 3 shortlisted qualified design contract firms. That's what you see on the left there. It's Finfrock, Kokalakis Contracting, and of course, Creative Contractors. The cost for the total garage is 10.3, but to actually construct it is 9.1 million. So to construct is 9.1 million. This shows what we have in place today and where we're looking to get to. We originally had what's in place today for the interlocal agreement is around 6.594 million. Okay, this is what we received Pinellas County approval for. We used some of that ability for debt to purchase the property there at Douglas and Scotland at 4.114 million. So that already took place. In that existing interlocal agreement, we also had Skinner Boulevard, complete streets in there. Somewhere around 2.48 million was going to be utilized for that. It was decided to go ahead and use ARPA funding for that, so that 2.45 million is still available, but that was used for just existing ability. So what we're looking at is to use that 2.48 million plus an additional 756,000. That is just the additional debt that's looking to be assumed with the CRA, with Pinellas County. That's what's being provided to you today. You see the penny for Pinellas, that money was going to be used for some of the design aspects. So that kind of makes up where we are. I think it's important to note that the CRA sunsets in 2033. Okay, so we got maybe 5-6 years left of the CRA in order to do our improvements. That means that some of this 15-year debt that we're looking to provide for the garage will need to be assumed by the general fund. Initially, that would be a very big concern and be alarming, but you have to understand that when the CRA sunsets, that very first year, 1.5 million will come to the general fund. It'll go up to about 2.2 million in several years. Well, how is that? It's the assessed property values that have been created from 1988. Instead of going to the county, going to the city, this will just go to the city to 1.5 million. The county, though, will also get their share. They'll get 1.5 million. Again, that's an accumulation of assessed property values that have taken place. So I think it's important to note that although the general fund will be assuming some of the debt in the future, the CRA will be bringing in 1.5 million. The debt service on the garage, of course, less is here, somewhere in the $850,000 range. This is just kind of a nice flow aspect of where we are. You see that existing, okay? You see that we used the 4.114 million for the property. And you see the Skinner, the 2.48, that instead was reallocated because ARPA paid for Skinner. And you can see that what we need to get to is we need another $756,000 in order to cover a future 15-year loan. And that's kind of the last one you see, the amended interlocal agreement. So to translate, what's being asked for today is to amend the initial interlocal agreement with an additional $756,000. This would have to be approved by the City Commission and approved by the county. From that point on, there's still many critical steps that need to go forward with this parking garage. This is probably only the second step in I know as part of staffing, a 15-step type process. So there's a long time to go on this, but this is an important one in order for us to continue. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have, and of course I have Les Tyler here with Finance for anything in particular.
Bob, before I open it up for questions, so all we're doing here is approving the agreement that we would make with the county to add another 760-some thousand to the limit of what we could pull out of the tax increment financing.
Well said. Yes, that's it.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's
I know
not
I
a go or
spoke
no go to anything. It's just changing that agreement to give maximum potential.
Agreed.
Okay. So I will go with questions. Commissioner Gao.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Bob, if this all goes through and it gets built, what do you anticipate the annual maintenance costs of the garage to be?
$43,000.
Annually?
Annually.
What is the annual maintenance cost of the Monroe garage?
It's much higher, but we're self-insured, so our cost level for maintenance is much less than what the private garage is, because we're self-insured. So we get economies of scale.
Very good, very good. And what? And it might have been in the staffing, and I didn't see it. But what are we anticipating the monthly payments on that debt to be? I'm thinking about that 1.5 million that we'll get when it sunsets. Will that be enough to cover the maintenance? Will it be enough to cover debt? Will it be enough to cover?
Certainly, Commissioner. The debt, and I have less here, but somewhere around $850,000 would be the debt service for it. And of course, 1.5 million is just the first year, and it'll go probably up to about 2.2 million in 5 or 6 years. So it's a very strong revenue stream.
And just to make sure I understand it as well as the residents, what that 1.5 million is that's money that you're currently getting now with the CRA. And once it sunsets, that will be moved to the general fund.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
That is correct. Yep.
All right. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mayor, if I may?
Sure, go ahead.
So the plan moving forward then is to put it in a special revenue account in the general fund so that it's always,
Earmarked.
it's very clear, it's very earmarked in the general fund where it's going to go to pay the debt for the CRA that would have paid.
Thank you. Okay, questions, Commissioner DeGard.
Thank you, Mayor. I noticed that we have penny for Pinellas funds in this. That has to come up for vote again in the near future. What are the assumptions around those dollars? Are those already committed, or are we looking at, or is there any speculation in the penny?
Commissioner, already committed, already approved. It's been there for several years, yes.
All right.
It actually was a higher amount, and of course, some of the dollars were used for other aspects. But yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Vice Mayor?
No questions, Mayor.
Okay, questions, Commissioner Sandbergen.
The last thing would be, every time we talk about parking garages, there's 2 words that come up: at risk. If and when this goes through, can we get out of and walk away from some of those leases so we don't have to have that held over our heads?
Yes, that is the plan. There's maybe 1 or 2 lots that make sense, and the rest do not make sense. So yes, this would be a step in that process for sure.
That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. I just had one question, Les, I think for you. So if we go forward with this, the next level of penny for Pinellas gets voted in, would it make sense that we would just pay it off? And would there be a penalty for paying it off, the loan?
We could pay it off early, and also assuming this moves forward and the commission approves the loan a formal loan in the future, we would definitely make sure that future loan has no prepayment penalties. We make sure of that, and we would either we could pay it off, or we could also just watch the market and refinance at some point. Because I would estimate in the next 8 years or less, the rates will go down, and that give an opportunity to get that rate below. We're estimating in these numbers 4.5% interest rate. That's the estimate now. That's, we think, reasonably conservative. But assuming it is 4.5, and we would make sure we had no prepayment penalties, and we could refi, or we could pay it off early, like you said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions, so I'm going to open it for public input. Anyone in the audience wish to come forward and speak on this issue? Okay, seeing no one, I will close public input, and I will ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, final comments, starting with maker of the motion, Vice Mayor.
No additional comments, Mayor.
Okay, seconder of the motion, Commissioner DeGard.
I just think this is a project that's been a lot of work. I think we're dependent on it for the future of our downtown. I support the project.
Okay, Commissioner Gao, final comments?
Thank you, Tom, for supporting. Bob, you know for a long time that I've never supported the garage. I'm just concerned about the traffic and encouraging people to drive into our downtown, which we're trying to make walkable. And then all on one street. We just approved the Main Street Exchange at the corner of Main Street and Douglas, so basically Douglas. Also with that project, we got another parking garage on Douglas. And that's within a block and a half. We've got 2 garages, and probably the biggest project that is going to be in downtown Dunedin. And to me, it's just way, way too much. It is going to change, not for the better, our downtown. And it's just, traffic on Douglas is just going to be absolutely horrendous. And so I cannot support this. Thank you.
Okay, final comments, Commissioner Sandbergen?
I have nothing to add, Mayor.
No, I mean, again, this is just making sure we have full opportunity for whatever we decide. It's not go or no go on anything. So I'm in favor of it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. Okay, our next item is going to be 3D, but we're going to take a quick break before we go into that. Okay, we'll bring the meeting back to order. This is the first hearing of application DR-2025-0003, request for design review approval for the development of a new 4-story, 3 stories over ground floor parking, multifamily residential building with 5 dwelling units total on a .21 acre vacant parcel located on Skinner Boulevard. This item is quasi-judicial, do we need to swear in first here? Okay, we need to swear people in. So if you're going to be speaking on this, please rise.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. I think what this said, I was formally supposed to say the public hearing is open. Okay, then you're sworn in, but you're sworn in. And so does anyone have any ex parte communications to disclose for the record up here? Okay, seeing no one, I'm going to go to the staff presentation, which is George and Bob.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. George Kinney on behalf of Community Development Department, and seated to my right is, as you know, Robert Ironsmith with the Economic Development Division, and he typically accompanies me with these types of requests when they're located in the CRA, which this project is. So very quickly, Mayor, just to orient everybody to the property.
George, would you pull the microphone closer to you?
They don't seem to be very loud tonight, do they?
They're not very loud. The people in the back need to hear
It's
you.
definitely on.
Yeah, okay.
So very quickly, just to orient you to the subject property, this is located on the north side of Skinner, and it's actually right in between the 2 roundabouts at Douglas and Highland. So it is on the north side of Skinner. It's the upper portion of the CRA, the northern portion of the CRA. And you can see the request is for design review approval for 444 Skinner Boulevard. The owner is Land Development LLC. Applicant is Ashley Reinhold. Representative is Brian Ongst, who they're all represented behind me here. Street address is Skinner Boulevard. It's a .21 acre site, and I'll go through the land use and zoning categories in the next couple of slides. One thing I do want to point out before I leave this slide very quickly to the commission is that you'll notice that that property seems to be cut out of a larger property, and that is the case. And I'll hit on that in a little bit, but this is a piece that was carved out of the parent parcel back in May of 2024. A little bit on the project description. This is a rendering of the site in question. It's a 4-story product, 3 stories over ground floor parking. It's a multifamily residential product with 5 dwelling units proposed. If you look to the left of the screen, there is the site plan. As you can see, all entry is from Skinner Boulevard in and underneath the project into the apartments. And then the lower left-hand screen is just a street view of that particular parcel. From a land use perspective, as is the case with all of our downtown core properties, it is underpinned by activity center land use. Activity center does permit up to 30 dwelling units per acre. Table 1 does represent that accounting of that acreage. It is 30 dwelling units to acre times the .21 acres. It allows for 6 units in total and 5 are proposed. So the project is consistent with the land use that underpins this particular project. From a zoning perspective, the subject property, again, is located in the downtown core. It is within the CRA, as mentioned, and as the commission knows, there are 3 distinct street types in the downtown to help perpetuate consistent height-to-width relationships. This is a Type C street, so what's interesting about a Type C street, as the commission knows, the applicant has the ability within the code to request something beyond the 36 feet that is normally applied to this particular category. And in this case, the applicant is doing just that. They are asking for 42 feet versus the 36 feet. A max is 46 is what can be requested. All for multiple story buildings, a 10-foot minimum step back behind the primary facade of the building is required. The City Commission is also authorized within the Land Development Code to waive that provision, and the applicant is also requesting that that provision be waived. The table to the right obviously shows all of those dimensional requirements in the downtown core, and they do meet each of those requirements as indicated by the table. And as you know, from as the commission knows, and we do this for all design reviews, and not just design reviews, we do this for all development projects that come into our office, but we analyze those requirements against our compatibility provisions. I want to take a minute to remind the commission of how the compatibility is analyzed as we work through development review projects and development projects just in general. In this slide, there is a screenshot capture of Objective 2.9 of the City Comprehensive Plan, and I just very quickly want to read some of that highlighted language into the record. When we are looking at proposals for development, we are required by Objective 2.9 to evaluate development and redevelopment for compatibility with the surrounding land and its uses. Development and redevelopment deemed not compatible will be denied. That is a will. So that means if we deem it not compatible, the project should be denied. And going down, there are several sub-policies underneath that section, and I just want to draw your attention to the first one, which really talks about height and mass. And in particular, that paragraph that's highlighted, land development code provisions concerning heights in individual district areas establish only the maximum allowed, and the actual permissible height is a decision to be determined by a compatibility analysis during design review and other development approvals. And that's where I'm saying it's not just applied to design review, but it's any other development approval that we see and that we review on a day-to-day basis. Approved heights may be substantially less based on that compatibility analysis. So as part of design review, this provision carries as much or even more weight than any other design standard and has been consistently and historically applied to all development review requests that come through our office and that ultimately go on to the commission for consideration. This is a long-standing provision dating back to Objective P, 1997. So this standard has been in our comprehensive plan for a long time. Objective P was then evolved into Objective O, if you recall, which predated this Objective 2.9. So this provision has been around for a long time now. It's evolved over time. It wasn't as strong as it is now, but it's been there, and it's been consistently used as we evaluate development projects in the city. More than any other provision, this is the one to me that drives the physical built environment and what has made Dunedin special by comparison. And I would argue that Dunedin's charm is largely built on this provision and creating this physical environment through that analysis. So I just wanted to kind of make those statements as I work through the compatibility piece of this so that everybody understands how we apply that particular piece of the master plan and all provisions related to development. This is, as the commission knows, with every design review, we do a staff compatibility analysis. This is that analysis. It analyzes all properties within typically 500 feet of the subject property area. And another piece that I want to emphasize is as we're looking through that compatibility piece, context is a huge piece of that evaluation. We are looking at nearby development types. We are looking at future plans that may wish to promote something different. We are looking at street types. We're looking at transitional zoning. So we're looking at all of those things in the context of where this project is located and how it's going to fit with that overall development pattern in that particular area. You can see some of the bullet points to the right. So based on that analysis that staff has prepared, there are 25 properties immediately surrounding the subject property. One existing structure exceeds 2 stories in that analysis area. The average number of stories, so if you take those 25 and do the median or do the average is 1.4 stories with a building height of 17.96 feet. And that includes the 3-story product that's immediately behind the property. The applicant is requesting, in this case, 4 stories and 42 feet. And I will say, we've had kind of advised the applicant through this entire process that we would certainly support a 1 to 2-story product and possibly a 3-story product with a compelling compatibility analysis. But in no instance did we assure the applicant that we were going to support a 4-story product. Staff also related again, so those are the bullet points that kind of feed into the analysis. Continuing on the compatibility piece of it, just a few more distinctions, and this kind of gets again to the context that I referenced. The surrounding area is predominantly built out and includes a mix of uses ranging from low to medium density single-family residential and multifamily residential to commercial and retail. One other thing I want to point out is immediately behind this piece, since this is the northern portion of the downtown core and the CRA, there is a transitional zoning district of downtown residential, which then transitions into our residential zoning categories of R60 immediately behind. And that's those areas in and around Palmetto Drive behind the subject property. I would point out that the urban context has recently been modified. I think you just heard a pretty good discussion on the Skinner Boulevard Complete Streets project. The completion of that Complete Street project, you know, we certainly know that there's a difference in the public realm out there as a result of that project. It has created a consistent framework for the modest mass and the height of the structures that are fronting the multimodal corridor. So a 4-story product, in staff's opinion, would be disruptive to the consistency of that public realm. There are no additional planning efforts or conceptual development programs for future development to take a greater form than already existing. And I know Bob will speak a little bit as to with respect to the CRA and the master plan and the vision there for whatever that development might entail. There are no 4-story buildings that exist or are otherwise planned in the area immediately surrounding the project site, and the more recent development in the area is limited to 2 stories or less. So if you go back to that slide, the compatibility slide, you'll see that the townhomes at Highland Crossing and Wellington Place are both 2-story immediately across the street. This is more of just a kind of a historical aspect to the property as well. So I mentioned that the property was carved out of a larger parent parcel. So that 3-structure parcel immediately to the north of this particular property was on the same parcel at one time and was split in May of 2024 and sold to the current applicant. There is a Vista condominium plat still on file, and there was an original building permit for construction that you can kind of see on the left-hand side that showed the possibility of a future building, very consistent in kind of scale and mass to that existing 3-story building. And in staff's opinion, that would be a more compatible proposal, but of course, that's just more from a historical perspective, but wanted to show that there was a thought at one point of continuing that existing mass and scale forward towards the street in the past. And just to very quickly kind of visually show you what that might look like under that plat, if constructed at the time, it would look something like that. And what we have today is more like that. So it just kind of gives you an idea of the mass that is created by a little bit of a larger structure. And the other thing I would point out is going back to Objective 2.9, one of the pieces is air, light, and ventilation. And certainly by creating more mass, you're decreasing that opportunity for air, light, and ventilation to adjacent property owners. One other piece, this is the final piece of the compatibility piece. We did engage Forward Pinellas, their ARC Urban GIS, and we did an ARC Urban GIS exercise, and a quick shout out to Forward Pinellas. They're incredible. This was the product of Nicole. I know Nicole might be watching tonight from home. She said she would. But Nicole Galasso and Rodney Chapman have been incredible to work with, and they popped this out for us. And this is a visual, and it's underlain by Pinellas County property appraiser data, which underpins the analysis. And then what Forward Pinellas does is they overlay the site plan to generate post-development view perspectives. So you have more than this in one of your exhibits, D2, but I have just a couple to show you what this would look like visually. So this is basically a view looking west, and you can see, and all of those existing structures that you see on the ground there are structures that are generated by that data put together by Forward Pinellas. Again, there's a couple of renderings. This is a west view perspective, and this is a perspective looking north and west of what that structure will look like post-development. So in addition to compatibility, there are also other provisions in the code that are required for design review approval, and those have been satisfied. This is a chart showing the actual standard on the left-hand side, the requirement, and then whether or not it conforms. So I won't spend a lot of time on this. Staff has reviewed the application against these design review criteria in the following areas and have determined for it to be compliant. This has had several committee actions. The Development Review Committee considered it in July of 2024. The Architectural Review Committee considered the application in June 3 of 2025 and recommended the project to the LPA subject to 4 conditions. Those conditions have not been reviewed by the Architectural Review Committee as the applicant pressed forward to the LPA, but the ARC did recommend that approval with those 4 conditions. On January 14, the LPA considered the project and recommended 5-1, the application to the City Commission, subject to the condition that the stormwater system be expanded to the maximum extent possible. Finally, from a staff recommendation standpoint, the applicant is requesting the City Commission approval of the 4-story with a maximum height of 42 feet. In addition, the applicant is requesting the City Commission waive the 10-foot step back above the 2nd story along Skinner Boulevard and approve the proposed design. Staff remains consistent in that the 4-story, 42-foot high multifamily residential building that's proposed on the property, together with potential development patterns of the very limited vacant lands in the area, would be considered incompatible with the existing building heights, densities, and intensities, and any anticipated future redevelopment in the surrounding areas and neighborhoods, and therefore find it inconsistent with Objective 2.9 of the future land use element of the comprehensive plan. Staff respectfully does not concur with the LPA recommendation and continues to find that application DR 2025-003 is inconsistent with the criteria for physical compatibility, and accordingly, staff is recommending to the City Commission not approve the design review project. And with that, I'm going to just ask Bob to provide a little bit of perspective from a CRA standpoint, and then we're happy to answer any questions.
Certainly. Thanks, George. Just a little bit of context. Obviously, we went with complete streets to reduce the right-of-way in there from 4 to 2. We were always looking for something that was more in keeping with the urban context footprint of the 1, 2, and maybe a 3-story with a type of mixed-use type product. So as George has mentioned several times, compatibility, the surrounding area, I think those slides by Forward Pinellas really show graphically that this is just not within the context that we would see, especially with Skinner Boulevard coming down to 2 lanes. So it's kind of incongruent in our opinion, and we would see that over time, some redevelopment will take place, but not at this level of a 4-story type product. So be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And
Okay, questions for staff? Remembering we'll have an applicant presentation too, but questions for staff, starting with Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you repeat the ARC recommendations that basically have not been fulfilled as part of passing it on to the LPA?
So I don't want to say not fulfilled. So what happened was the ARC had recommended the project subject to 4 conditions. The 4 conditions were not addressed until we received information on those 4 conditions a day. It was either 2 days or 1 day prior to the LPA meeting. So there was no opportunity to review them, no opportunity to send them back to the ARC for any further consideration. And that still has not occurred. So there has not been a review of those 4 conditions by the ARC.
But yet that still got passed to the LPA.
And that got passed to the LPA at the applicant's request to continue to move forward through the process.
Okay. And I hate to do this to you, but can you summarize the compatibility, I think, Objective 2.9 again, just?
Yeah, sure. So, just very quickly, Vice Mayor. So, again, we have provision for a project to be consistent and garner approval. It needs to meet all of the criteria of both the Land Development Code, and it needs to be consistent with our master plan. So this is Objective 2.9. We apply this provision to every development review that we do in our office. And I think that the germane points are really, there are several pieces to it, as you can see. There are pieces of it that discuss the environmental aspect of things, the economic aspect of things. In this particular case, we're more focused on 2.9.11. And what that says is, with regards to height of existing structures, height compatibility will take into account the impacts on abutting property as to light, air, and view, and other possible negative effects on abutting property from the proposed project. land development code provisions concerning height, so it's going back to the land development code. Those provisions concerning height in individual districts or areas establish only the maximum height allowed, and the actual permissible height is a decision to be determined by a compatibility analysis, which is what we're working through here with you. During the design review or other development approvals, approved heights may be substantially less based on the compatibility analysis. And I think you've seen that in almost every project we've brought to you. There are very few projects that you have approved as a commission that have utilized the full dimensional standard abilities because they've been evaluated against compatibility. Case in point is Flats on Main. That's an MF15 category that allows up to 50 feet in height. We capped them at 36 feet because we were looking at that transition into the adjacent neighborhoods. There are very few projects do we do that actually reach that full piece because we're applying this provision as aggressively as we would apply any other provision to evaluate that project. So that compatibility provision has been in there, like I said, for nearly 30 years at this point, and I truly believe that is what is creating the built environment that is keeping Dunedin, is keeping more of that quaint charm aspect that everybody desires here. So I think it's an important provision, and I would deem it to be one of the most important provisions that we apply against any evaluation of any development project.
Yeah. And I don't know, is it our intention that the developer is going to give an opportunity to present?
Of course.
Okay. Well, other question I have will be for the developer then. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. So questions for staff, Commissioner Sandbergen?
George, you mentioned that there was an existing building permit. Does that have any bearing on what we're talking about tonight?
It's really meant to just to show you that there was a historical intent to do something that was more consistent with what's on the ground out there versus what we're seeing today.
Okay. Hey, Bob, can you move, or one of you guys, we're looking down on the property? I just had some questions about the surrounding. Yeah, that, maybe go back for when it was a vacant piece. One more. Yeah, that's fine. That'll work. Yeah. All right. On the north end, is that residential or is that commercial condos, which adjoin the property?
Oh, there's condos right behind it.
Are they offices or are they residential?
They're apartments, I believe.
Apartments.
Okay. And what is, and to the west, that's offices?
Yes.
Okay. And how about to the east? Is that a single-family home?
No, it's a, gosh, I forget what it is. It's not single family.
Okay, but it is residential? All right, I guess.
Immediately to the right?
It's got that, you know what, I guess it won't make any difference as I go.
Okay. I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Sure.
I was back there today. I spent some time on Palmetto, and this is a big building. What are their plans? Are they storing the runoff water on site? Is there a vault, or will it all be dumped onto city streets?
Yeah, I think they'll speak to that because I know they've done some work between the LPA and this meeting tonight on that particular issue.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns the residents had too, was the drainage.
Yeah, and I was back there today looking at it. Okay, you know, that's all I have for right now, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Gao, questions for staff right now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, you talked about the previous permit that was there. What was the size and scale of that?
That's what created the building that exists on the north side of the proposal. So that is the 3-story product that exists, that you see right above the
right above it. Right. What would be behind it?
Well, yeah. So the permit approved that building that is right above the square.
Right. Okay.
So, but it anticipated a future building coming forward towards Main Street.
And that building was to the same scale?
Yes. So it's on the left-hand side there, Commissioner. So you can see the top building is the one that was constructed. On the left-hand side, that top square was constructed, and that's the roof structure. And then it anticipated. Right. You can see how the parking lot see how the parking area was extended and it stayed east of the parking area? So it was intended, where it says Lot 8, it was intended to kind of come, at that point, at that time, come down and follow that same pattern.
Okay, just an extension of what's there.
Exactly.
Okay, and that is 2 stories?
No, it was,
Is it
that was
3?
proposed then at 3 stories as well. It was intended to
proposed at
complement
3.
that existing building.
And so, yeah, the building that is there at, right there at 100.1.
Exactly.
That is 3 stories?
That's correct. That's the only 3-story building. If you look at that compatibility analysis, that is the only 3-story building in that area.
Okay, all right. Now, I also have questions about, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I know.
Yeah. I have questions about solid waste recycling. Should I wait for the applicant?
You can. I mean, solid waste has looked at it as part of their DRC review and has commented that they can make that work. But
Well, yeah, I don't know what make it work means.
so rollouts. I think they were talking about rollouts. But yes, the applicants can speak to that much better than I can.
Okay, all right, then I'll wait. That's it.
Okay, Commissioner DeGard, questions for staff?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to understand the timeline better here, because I want to understand when we began to communicate to the developer that this project had some challenges with height. So can you kind of go back over that process again for me?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so Commissioner, so we typically get involved with the applicant well before it gets to a DRC meeting. So you can see that the DRC meeting took place on July 17 of 2024. They were informed at the very first staff meeting that that height and mass, the way it was presented, would be a challenge. They asked for more specificity on what that meant. So we actually had a meeting with the city manager at the request of the applicant to talk about what that means. And that's where we conveyed to them that we would support a 1 to 2 story product, possibly a 3-story product with a compelling compatibility analysis. And then we followed that up with an email articulating that very point. So they've had that literally from the beginning. So from 2024.
18 months ago.
Through today,
Yeah.
We have continually suggested that the project as proposed would be a challenge. But certainly that, the right to request that additional height and the step back waiver is within the land development code and is something that they can ask for and something that they are asking for.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, a couple questions. One is, so why would we allow it to go to LPA if things weren't complete at the lower level?
So we don't tell a developer they can't take the next step. It's their choice. What we try to do is work with them and get the product to something that we can recommend approval on. We actually sent a few emails that were responded to where we suggested that, are you sure you want to continue to move forward without staff consideration or without staff recommendation? And they asked us to continue to move it forward. And I don't know legally if we can not accommodate that kind of request.
Okay. I mean, okay, I guess that's at one's own risk. So even if I thought there was compatibility, a 4-story in the code, my recollection is only if the rest of the project is architecturally so great that it kind of offsets the 4-story. Is that what the code says?
Yeah, and I think that applies to both the height that you would be considering and the step back. So, that's another piece to this that we haven't talked about because since I've been here and since I presented projects to you, I don't remember you ever waiving a 10-foot step back. You've waived modifications where you've said, we'll do a 10-foot step back here, and it's so architecturally well done here, you're not creating that canyon effect, and we'll forgive a portion of the building, but you've never outright waived a 10-foot step back requirement. And you're right, it is absolutely embedded into the architectural character. If you think that there is some compelling architecture here that would suggest waiving that 10-foot step back and supporting that 4th floor, then that's where I think you go with it.
Probably going to ask you, Bob, because I think you were here. I'm not sure you were here. How far back does the step back go in terms of being part of our code?
Oh, geez, probably, I would say 2016. It's been there quite some time. Yeah. I
It
think
was
back
part
to
of
Chris-
2005 visioning,
Yeah.
and it happened somewhere in a couple years after
Yeah,
that. That got
absolutely.
into the code.
The step back was an important part in order to create an element.
So you've gone a lot with the compatibility, and used to be a word in our comp plan, and then it was made a memo by our city attorney, not this city attorney, that was relied on, and then the comp plan got deeper and more detailed about the importance of compatibility. I guess my question is, why did the LPA not give it as much weight?
Yeah, I think so
Because it is part of what keeps our balance and our charm.
that's a great question, Mayor. So, part of it is they're residents, number one. They're not trained aggressively on compatibility. We do the best we can when we orient our planning commission members to understand it. I think the LPA, and I don't want to speak for them, it's a great group, and they are really good people with good hearts and good intentions. I just think they got a little confused. There were some terms thrown around, including entitlement and catalyst projects and some other things that were tossed around. And, I think in this case, there just wasn't the understanding that the not only do the land development code provisions apply, but also the master plan provisions apply, and that there should be just as much weight placed on compatibility as there is for any other provision that's used when we're evaluating those plans. They just, I just think they just struggled with, how that applies and what context. And, that part of that's me, maybe not having explained it very well at the LPA meeting, or maybe not having done enough in the orientation meetings to get them, accustomed to what that really means for the city. But, I don't have a great explanation, because, the initial recommendation was to deny the application. That motion died for failure for a second, and then the second came up, and that was approved 5-1. So.
Okay.
I can offer a great
No,
explanation.
I appreciate that. And I guess that's all my questions right now. So we'll go to applicant presentation. Brian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have a PowerPoint. George, I don't know if you'll be clicking those slides, or you want me to do it? Okay. I did just want to pass out a printout of your CRA map, which you all sure did well. All right, George. Mayor and Commissioners, while you're passing that out, in the interest of time, I'll introduce myself, Brian Ungst, 625 Court Street, here on behalf of the applicant Land Devs Development, and Ashley Reinhold and Chris Reinhold, who are local developers. They are proud property owners in the city of Dunedin, proud members and supporters of the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been residents in North Pinellas County for over 24 years. We're also joined by our architect, Tulio Zalaga, who testified at the ARC and also at the LPA. If you had a chance to watch the LPA hearing, you heard him speak at that meeting. And also from Northside Engineering, Hush Gavehi, who's here now, who wasn't present at LPA but can answer any questions as it relates to the stormwater and the drainage and the improvements on the site. So, Mayor and Commissioner, as you know, this property is a vacant property on Skinner Road Skinner Boulevard, that is in the activity center land use, and it has the downtown core zoning. It is in the CRA, the community redevelopment area. This is an underutilized vacant site that has been underutilized and non-conforming for decades. That building that was permitted back in the 80s would not be allowed to be built today. It's not conforming for parking. It's not conforming for impervious surface ratio. It's not conforming for sustainability. It's not conforming for stormwater and drainage. This project is. This project is conforming, and it activates the vacant parcel. That is what the LPA was intrigued by. That is what they bought into. The LPA said that the city in the downtown core has been tremendously successful, as you know, and has been able to retain the charm and the uniqueness of Dunedin. But when you come to Skinner Boulevard, the city has somewhat struggled to replicate the success of the rest of the downtown core. Mr. Benjamin, who's now the chair of the LPA, said he believed this project would be a catalyst for redevelopment. And our point is, when you look at compatibility under Objective 2.9, you have to look at the permitted land uses. Okay, so what are the permitted land uses? All of the surrounding abutting properties are downtown core. All of them. The abutting property to the rear is 36 feet and was approved in the 80s and has surface parking. We could be 36 feet if we were allowed to do surface parking, but you don't want back out surface parking on Skinner in between the two roundabouts. That's not a transportation or multimodal or pedestrian or cyclist-oriented design. This project incorporates structured parking, which is where the extra 6 feet come in. This project asks for everything that's allowed pursuant to the code. The code allows type C frontages, which this is, to go to 46 feet with commission approval. It's your decision. It's your decision to make based on the evidence that's presented. The ARC unanimously recommended approval to the LPA with those 4 conditions, which were met, and the LPA determined were met. And Mr. Zalago will testify about those 4 conditions. And I'll get into the specifics on why we, unfortunately, were not able to go back to the ARC. I don't want to belabor that at this point. So none of the abutting properties, and this is outlined in the staff report, none of the abutting properties are permitted to have a single-family home built today. You could not permit a single-family home on any of the abutting properties today. So one of the things we're saying is in Objective 2.9, it talks about the existing permissible land uses. Not one existing permissible land use abutting this property is single-family home, because it's an activity center. And the legislative intent of the commission and of the staff in adopting the activity center land use for this property and the downtown core zoning for this property and the type C frontage for this property was to enable it to be activated with appropriate, sustainable, resilient development, which respectfully we believe we've submitted for your consideration today. The adjacent properties are residential condo, 36 feet to the rear, warehouse, restaurant, and then there's the office condo, the well spa, all of that to the west. Next slide, please. I do want to point out again, as you know, the activity center land use plan category is designed to, permits up to 30 dwelling units per acre and is designed to activate and bring activity, including pedestrian and residential activity, to your downtown core. We want high quality residential projects in the downtown core. We want them to be walkable. We want them to be compatible with the complete streets. That's why we set the building back 10 feet. Per code, and it says here, the table, the code allows a 0-foot front setback, 0 feet to the property line. What the LPA recognized was we didn't do that. We set the whole building back 10 feet to avoid the canyon effect. That is why the LPA recognized that that step back waiver was unnecessary, because there is no canyon effect. It's entirely set back from the front property line, which will vastly increase the pedestrian-oriented nature of the project. I'll show you a massing comparison of what if we did a 3-story building with a 0 front setback, and it, in my opinion, looks atrocious, which would be, you know, kind of, I don't know what other alternative there is. So you'll hear from the architect that this was very thoughtfully and deliberately designed within code. We are not asking for the maximum density. The density is allowed by right. It's 30 units per acre on a 0.21 acre site. It's very challenging to fit 6 units on a 0.21 acre site without structured parking, and you couldn't possibly do it without going to the max height. What we've done is we've eliminated a unit. We're asking for 5 units. So we are not asking for the maximum density allowed by right. We are also not allowing for the maximum height that you could approve. We could have asked for up to 46 feet. We're asking for 42 feet. We could get 36 feet in height without city commission approval. So we're asking for 6 extra feet to accommodate for the surface parking, essentially. That's where it is. The ceiling heights are 10 feet on average. So these are not some, insane, maximize the density, maximize the intensity. It's make this small constrained site work within the plan and work within the goals, policies, and objectives of the city of Dunedin. And I believe, again, respectfully, that that is what the LPA and the ARC saw, and that is why they supported the application. Next slide, please. Okay, these are the members of the ARC. You know all of them well because you appoint them. They are all design professionals. They are all either architects. Some of them are dual architects and landscape architects, and some of them are landscape architects. They gave us 4 recommended things to include in the project. But the ARC minutes clearly state from June 3rd, based on the applicant's compatibility analysis, the proposed project is compatible with the surrounding area and recommended approval to the LPA with these 4 additional elements. Additional illustration and architectural expression on the east elevation, that's adjacent to the non-conforming residential home. Roofing elements to have variable material instead of fiberglass shingle. Provide additional screening for the parking area, and provide an arborist report of the existing trees and a full landscape plan drawn by a landscape architect. All of these things were done and completed in August of 2025. Unfortunately, due to a mix-up on our side, they were not uploaded to the e-permitting system. I was not involved with this case in June of 2025. I became involved with it around August, and I was unaware that the newest updated plans had not been uploaded. Additionally, scheduling the LPA hearing was delayed based on quorum issues. I think we were supposed to go to LPA in October. We didn't end up going to LPA until January. I didn't realize that those ARC compliant plans hadn't been uploaded until I received the staff report for the LPA, which was like a day or 2 before. If I had known that, we would have gone back to the ARC. If I knew it was important for the city commission, after the LPA recommended approval 6-1, we could have gone back to the ARC in the 2 months that we delayed the project, but we voluntarily delayed the project at the request of the city staff because we knew you had other projects that were taking precedence that were going to be a long time. So we voluntarily did not proceed to the city commission, and so this part of the delay is just scheduling, and also part of it in terms of scheduling this hearing was at the request of the city, which we were happy to accommodate. But again, we did meet and comply with these conditions. Next slide, please. I'll ask our architect, Tulio Zalaga, to take you through the next slides showing compliance with the ARC's recommended conditions.
Good evening. My name is Tulio Zuluaga, 2953 Robinwood Lane in Palm Harbor.
Tulio, I just want to make sure you can be heard.
Yeah. Thank you. One of the items that the ARC commented on was on the fenestration and level of details for the east elevation, and we did those revisions, and as Brian mentioned, those got not uploaded on time. But those were taken care of, and also there was an error, mistype on the type of roofing, which we corrected too. Yeah, that's a highlight of the correction of the label of the roof material. And then also we added the screening of the parking lot, which was at their request. That's a very tight site, and there's a lot of vegetation not shown on the rendering. But regardless, we added those screening. It is a fact that we corrected those 4, and the graphics and the renderings shows those.
Thank you, Tulio. I'm going to ask Tulio to come back in a couple minutes to talk about the massing, and he'll definitely be here to answer any questions that you have. Next slide, please. This is the arborist report that was provided at the request of the ARC to provide the existing trees and a full landscape plan drawn by a landscape architect. As you know, the ARC is they are very cognizant of landscaping, and they felt like these were the things that needed to be done to recommend approval to the LPA. And when this evidence was presented to the LPA determined that these conditions had been met and was sufficient to move forward to the commission, which is why we didn't think it would be necessary to go back to the ARC, especially after not a full year, but 9 months since the last ARC hearing. Next slide, please. So the local planning agency, again, you are very familiar with the LPA. You appoint them as well. They found overwhelmingly in the January 14th hearing that the application does meet the conditions noted at ARC and recommended approval of the design review of the project with the below conditions. Expand capacity of stormwater holding system to maximum capacity. That is because the majority of the complaints that were made, or the concerns, I want to say concerns, the majority of the concerns that were made by especially the residents on Palmetto were regarding the existing conditions on the site and the 36-foot tall building to the rear, which flood their properties. Vice Chair Stanek said he referred to it instead of a drainage ditch out on site right now, he referred to it as a drainage hole. It doesn't drain anything. It is completely non-conforming with stormwater and drainage, and it is definitely injurious to the neighboring properties. Next slide, please. We have designed a stormwater vault and increased and maximized the size of that underground vault to completely retain all stormwater runoff, not just from this property, but also from the 3-story residential condo in the rear, which is currently flooding the property behind it. We will completely treat and retain that water on site. And that was done at the request and the recommendation of the LPA. And that was done in a really neighborly, good faith effort to try to address the valid concerns of the single family neighbors to the north about that property that was permitted in the 80s that's no longer conforming, that has surface parking, that you could never design a property like that under your current code, nor should you be able to, nor would it get SwiftMud approval or FDOT approval. And so what we're doing is we're correcting that non-conforming problem to the property to the rear for the benefit of all of the abutting properties. So in our view, this project is exceptional because it treats that problem. It solves that problem. And so all we're doing is asking you to, instead of stepping it back above 2 floors and putting it a 0 setback to Skinner, allow us to set the whole building back 10 feet and get 6 additional feet of height so we can get that parking in there. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the massing study. This shows what's proposed. Of course, these are not the actual colors, okay? This is like a grayscale. I wanted to make sure we were aware of that. Or maybe Halloween decorations, I don't know. But Tulio, if you'd want to come back up and walk through this part again. There's also a public art element to this project. So because we've asked for the commission's approval, we are subject to the park impact fee, which is almost $40,000, $39,800. And we're also subject to the public art requirement. We've already retained a local artist for the design and installation of that public art, and that was at a cost of $18,500. So a total impact fee of around $57,000 for the consideration of the approval of these requests. Tulio, you want to address this, please? And when you're ready to show the massing, just ask Mr. Kinney to move to the next slide, please.
Okay. All right, so this is, as Brian mentioned, this is just a rendering generated by our software, which doesn't show the proper colors. And here, we're showing the 10-foot setback to allow for the art piece, but also to maximize the step back that it is required on the regulations. In the next slide, we show what we could have done within the regulations, which is a 0 setback and then a 10-foot setback for the next 2 floors.
Yeah, and Tulio, could you describe to the commission, I mean, obviously as an architect professional, you are interpreting and reading the code and the design requirements faithfully in order to get the reasonable use of the site. If you had to comply with the 0 front setback and then do the step backs to above the 2nd floor, what impact would that have on the project, on the parking, on the stormwater, on the impervious surface? Is that a feasible design? Is that even doable in your opinion?
No, there were other considerations aside from the need of the green space, because it's a very tight site. For landscaping and for the RPs, but also to respect the request from the city about their concern on the vehicles accessing the building and having to be encroaching into the sidewalk.
Okay, thank you, Tulio. And again, he's obviously here to answer any questions, and he's not going anywhere. Next slide, please. I'll try to get through the rest of this very quickly, Mayor. So now we're going to talk about the compatibility and our compatibility analysis. And one of the things I want to point out is you can't only judge compatibility based on non-conforming parcels, or else you'll never get redevelopment. You have to judge redevelopment based on the quality of the redevelopment, whether it's sustainable, whether it's resilient. This project has a 105 score on the sustainability matrix. It provides solar panel roofing. It is, again, a very thoughtfully designed project. This wasn't just some developer who came in for the max and maximize value. This was thoughtfully designed. Next slide, please. Okay, you're familiar with this slide. Mr. Kinney showed it. Several multifamily buildings that are 36 feet, et cetera. Next slide, please. Within 500 feet, which is the standard of objective 2.9, so the compatibility is within 500 feet. Well, within 270 yards, you have the Artisan. You have the new Douglas parking garage that was approved, that is being constructed. You have several larger multifamily buildings. Now, if this site was 0.9 acres or 1 acre or 2 acres like some of these other sites were, we probably could go to 36 stories because we could fit the units in a way that makes sense, and we could also fit the structured parking in. But because it's 0.21 acres, we cannot fit those units in even with 10-foot ceilings, and we cannot fit that parking in without going that extra 6 feet in height. Next slide, please. As you know, you recently approved the Main Street Exchange project. That is a max of 46 feet in height, and that was subject to the same compatibility analysis contained in Objective 2.9, and that was also recommended for approval by the LPA and by the ARC after several meetings. Next slide, please. And again, the Douglas parking garage, that is at 46 feet in height, and that is literally just across the street, catty corner from this site. So we have to include that in our compatibility because it's something that's happening. We know that there's going to be a 46-foot tall parking garage there, and we know it's directly adjacent to Cafe Racer, which is a very small, low-intense property. So again, the compatibility analysis, in our view, should be applied uniformly, and we think it's only fair to apply those examples in the compatibility analysis. Next slide, please. And again, this project was something we were all for. I'm an attorney for the Pinellas County Housing Authority, so we were very excited to partner with Bob in this project. But again, this is a project that was approved at 43 feet in height, despite being a large parcel, and directly adjacent to the west with single-family homes, and no other buildings that are really 43 feet in height nearby. So again, the compatibility requirement of Objective 2.9 we think should be applied consistently, and we believe we are applying it consistently, and we believe the LPA and the ARC also applied it consistently. Next slide, please. These are just the floor plans. I'm just going to go through. That's the garage. Next slide. That's the first floor, the first occupiable floor. That's the second floor, and that's the third floor. So this is to demonstrate this is a 3-story building over parking. Next slide, please. All right. So this is what Mayor Freeney was asking about or discussing regarding what is it in the code that allows you to go up to 46 feet with commission approval. And these are the elements. The architectural articulation, which Mr. Zalago explained and addressed, and why we chose to step the entire building back 10 feet as opposed to, set it back 10 feet as opposed to step it back over the second floor with a 0-foot setback. Integrated public benefits, green building initiatives, which we've included the solar, the public art, enhanced streetscaping treatments, and we also provided bicycle parking and bicycle accommodations. Existing setbacks, we have exceeded all of the required setbacks, and then the imposing setback may detract. Yeah, so again, we believe the architectural features here and the entire 10-foot setback meets that requirement for the 10-foot setback waiver. Next slide, please. All right, and so the approval of this request will allow the applicant to move forward with the development of 5 new townhomes, which will benefit the area by introducing new residents right next to downtown Dunedin. It will also be a generator of revenue for the CRA with a high-quality residential product that, again, the LPA hoped would be a catalyst for redevelopment of Skinner, consistent with all of these red properties on Skinner that are Type C street frontages with the downtown core and activity center land use. And the height waiver, again, we believe is justified based on the increased setback, and the 42 feet in height is only a 6-foot difference from what would be allowed without commission approval. So again, we did attempt to make this project the minimum intensity, which is the 42 feet instead of 46, and the minimum density that would also get you a high quality product that would be beneficial to the downtown core, which is 5 units as opposed to 6. we are happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, questions for the applicant? I'll start on this side this time. Commissioner Gao?
Thank you. And these 5 new townhomes, they're private residences or are they rentals?
They will be fee simple. They will be for sale.
They're for sale, so it's going to be private residences. So tell me a little bit about the accommodations you made for bicycles.
Well, the bicycle accommodations, or who's, Tulio? Yeah, go ahead, Tulio. Tulio, are you going to talk on that, or who?
I make accommodations for my bicycle at home. It's a private home. I just put it in the garage. The builder didn't have to do anything special, so.
Good evening. My name is Hushko Vahi. I'm with Northside Engineering, Clearwater, 300 South Belcher Road. Typically, in residential units, the ownership of the units can take the bicycles and put them upstairs, take them in their units. In this particular case, though, we have provided a platform for the parking to park the bicycles. So it's right in the garage. It's right in the garage. It's very accessible to the sidewalk that Brian's alluding to as far as pedestrian traffic.
Okay, thank you. And the parking garage, is that an open garage?
It is screened, Tulio? Yeah. Go ahead.
It is a screen on the east side, but it's open to the street.
Right, so the street side is open?
Yes.
And that is just, what was that material on the east side?
It's
Bamboo, screen, what?
It's a wooden fence.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tell me about the solid waste and recycling. How is that going to work?
Yeah, there's a page with the site plan.
Okay, so which slide are we looking for?
It's a site plan from Northside Engineering. One of the first pages. That one, yeah.
Which one do you want to do?
If you go to the garage floor, the site plan. The floor plan, yeah, the floor plan, sorry. Right there, yeah.
So the bottom right-hand side of the screen, Commissioner, is where the staging is for the sanitation, and then that'll be rolled right out that's the entrance right there to the garage.
And you'll have, right, it's residential, so the homeowner will have access to solid waste and recycling.
Yes, sir.
And with 5 units, so we're going to see 10 different cans.
5 units.
Out at the curb.
The applicant has met with sanitation, and that was part of the development review process, and all the sanitation comments have been complied with. So I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything on that.
Yeah, I went over there and talked to them. So I went to sanitation, and we worked out the whole plan, and it's approved by, I forget the gentleman's name, I apologize, Paul. So I sat down with Paul for about an hour and a half, and he came up with this plan, and then if you go to the front, myself and him placed the cans where he wanted them because he's going to have the garbage camped in, with the arm. And I believe they're on 2 different days, right? The recycling and the.
No.
No, they're on the same day.
Same day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but he told us exactly where to place them, and he agreed with the plan. And then the other trash cans that we're referring to, they're all the way in the back by the other unit. They're nowhere out front. They're put on the left curb, 2 different curbs.
Okay, and so, so for this property.
Yes, sir.
The cans are going to be curbside. Solid waste is not going to pull into the garage and use the arm, right? So
They're
we're going to
use
have.
them right on the street.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you can't speak for I understand if you can't speak for the units that are behind you, but from what you know, are those cans brought all the way out to the curb?
Yeah, but they have their own curb. There's 2 curbs, so they have the left curb.
But both of those curbs are on Skinner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we do have
But 2 of those units are offices on the bottom, so it's actually technically only 2 residential units. So, and one of the units is not being used. So, yeah, but just so you guys know that it's not residential trash. It's just I think a real estate office, and then the other one belongs to the dude. Yep.
Okay. That's all that I have right now, Mayor. I'll leave room.
All right. Questions for the applicant, Commissioner DeGard?
Thank you, Mayor. As I'm looking at this project, and I'm looking at the challenges that, well, actually the question we're facing, which is, do we approve this? Because at this fourth floor, we have the approval. It rests right here. We've got a recommendation from LPA to proceed. But I'm really going to have to kind of ignore that because they had made their decision, we have to make ours. Now, the question, as I'm looking at this, we've known for 18 months that there was a question about height on this project. Tell me about your decision to go forward with the application knowing that that existed.
Right, and Commissioner, as I said, I got involved back in August of 2025, so I was not a part of that decision. But what I think I can tell you is that the applicant has improved the design, including reducing the height and the density of the project in response to working with the staff, understanding that there was going to still be a respectful disagreement or difference of opinion. When you talk about compatibility, it is subjective in many ways. And when you talk about redevelopment of an activity center compared to parcels that are adjacent that are non-conforming, there's always friction with what's compatible and what's not. If you only approve things that were compatible with the adjacent property, you would not approve anything that's consistent with the new standards and what is being legislatively marketed to the development communities. This is what we want. We want multifamily that works on these sites. So I believe the developer was hopeful that by incorporating those improvements, incorporating the improvements by the ARC, and now finally getting through the LPA and improving it even more by providing this vault, that you all would be persuaded that this would be a reasonable and respectfully, supportable request.
Was there any encouragement along the way to make you believe that was the case?
In terms of from staff?
Yeah.
I believe the staff was always pretty consistent and clear that they were going to be challenged to go to 42 feet on this site. I believe that's the case.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. That's all my questions.
You have to come forward if you're going to say something. And introduce yourself, please.
I think what Mr. Reinhold was wanting to point out, Commissioner, is the only disagreement we have is about that 6 feet in height. The staff finds everything else about the project to be consistent and supportable. And so because the rest of it was consistent and supportable, and he needs that extra footage to get the 5 units and the parking, that we were hopeful that this would be considered a reasonable and supportable request by the commission.
Then I have one more question, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
Was there any third place? We've got yes or no at this height is where we are today. Was there any third place where we said, okay, if you could go back this much further, 5 feet, was there any negotiation like that went on in this process?
In terms of alternative designs, I think this is the alternative design that the developer felt was the best, most reasonable use of the property to provide a product that would be beneficial to the downtown core and to the CRA.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Vice Mayor, questions for the applicant?
No, the one question I did have was answered, so.
Commissioner Sandberg, questions for the applicant?
Yeah, that picture that's up, Brian, looks like that Unit 4, there's a car, so you can enter from Skinner as well as the driveway coming in? I'm a little confused about that.
Yes, most of the cars are entering, obviously, from Skinner to the parking garage, but there are a couple of parking spaces that will access from the shared access.
The driveway.
Driveway, yes.
Okay. I'm not going to let you off that easy about that underground water storage and dumping water on those neighbors. They sure don't deserve that. Can you try to clarify where that storm water is going to go and how we're going to be protected?
Yes, more than happy to. Currently, if you look at the survey, you have a very small retention area that's not even retention. It's just like a really dilapidated, like a hole in the ground that holds some water. If you also consider elevations, the pond itself has about 4 feet of depth. However, the inlet in the parking lot is about 1.25 feet below the top. So any water that goes in that pond, basically sheet flows back into that inlet, if that makes any sense.
If I could stop you right there, on this picture, where is that? Where's that? Is that represented on here?
It's at the, like a northwest corner of this site. I wish we had a better representation of the civil plan, like a sheet C 4.1. But it's at the north.
So, because the,
oh. All right, so can you see the northwest corner of the property line?
where it says Lot 3, probably coming off of Palmetto?
Of our proposed lot.
I'm looking at the same thing you are. I guess I'm just wondering
All right,
where.
See the, in the hexagon, it shows number 1. You see up there, at the top of the brown color area, all the way to the top, you see in the hexagon, it says number 1.
Yes, I see that.
All right, so that's the inlet. So that inlet is about 1.5 feet right now below the top of the bank in the pond. So any water that goes into the pond basically stays in that inlet. And as you go towards Skinner and as you go north, the pavement actually goes up. So that inlet is really at the bottom of like a hill, and there's no way for any water to get out.
So it's designed for the water to flow towards.
To basically flood, and it has to build up about 1.25 feet before it can escape and drain into Skinner.
Okay.
So what we are building here is a vault that's going to cost about $350,000. That's a lot of money. And it would have to meet DOT and SWIFMUD requirements. SWIFMUD has changed the regulations right now with the BMP train. It really requires a lot of volume. So this design for sure exceeds the city requirements. So we're looking at a 100-year storm. There's really no place for the water to go except it just builds up and percolates into the ground.
You know, we get so many inquiries post-hurricane, 2024. Everything that comes before us, that's one of the biggest questions. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, sorry, this is just still in my head. I have to ask it one more time. So why didn't the applicant wait and just finish the process and go back to ARC?
We didn't.
I'm still struggling with
Right.
that.
We didn't realize we were supposed to do that, Mayor. So there was someone else, another lawyer, handling this case in June of 2025. In August of 2025, it was handed off to me, and that contemporaneously with that, these plans were done. And I asked, were these uploaded? Did this get back to the city? And the answer was yes. And I didn't receive, I let the city know that I was representing the applicant. I believe we might have met, or just had a phone call to get me up to speed on the city's perspective and the history on that. And, I was unaware that that was something that was requested. I became, again, the LPA hearing got delayed at least once, if not twice. Once was based on quorum issues. The second time might have been my availability over the holidays. I believe that's what it was. Thank you, City Manager. So first time was a quorum problem for LPA. Second time was my availability. That's why we got pushed all the way to January. I didn't realize that the staff's position was that the ARC's conditions were supposed to be re-reviewed by the ARC. When I read the ARC minutes, it said, we recommend approval subject to these 4 conditions. I didn't see where it said come back. And so that was only a day before the LPA hearing, which had already been delayed 3 or 4 months. And at that time, the city staff basically said, you don't have to go back to ARC, you can go to LPA. And the LPA recommended approval, as you know, and they found that we met the ARC requirements. If we should have gone back to the ARC, I really wish I would have done it while we had the delay for Main Street Exchange, because there would have been time to do that. If it's really important for us to go back to the ARC and you think it'll make a difference in supporting it, we would be willing to do that. If you'd like us to go back to them, if that would help some of you get to supportability on this, if that's going to make the difference, we would absolutely do it.
No, but it was just lingering, and that actually helps. Your answer helps. So my only other question, I guess, is can you put up the mass thing that you just did?
Yes, ma'am. If I can find it. There it is.
Okay. So when I look at that picture, and when I look at page 32 of your application, which actually shows your own massing against other buildings. I see nothing compatible about that. So help me with how you think that's compatible to the surrounding,
Right.
that street corridor, and how it can evolve.
This is showing what the project would look like if it had a 0-foot setback to
Yeah,
the
you
property
can,
line.
you can get rid of
Okay.
the other part, because it's going to be the same thing. Well, no, go to that one. Again, that and page 32 of your application show that whole line of the block, and it's not even close in my mind to being compatible. So I'm just trying to get into your head and why you think that is compatible.
Right. So in our view, it's compatible because the compatibility objective 2.9 is a 500-foot radius. This property is now activity center land use and a downtown core zoning. It's entitled to 30 units per acre. At 0.21 acres, that is 6 units. And so if the objective is to develop this property consistent with the land use and the zoning, which is what the purpose of land use and zoning are, then the height is supportable. And compatibility under 2.9 isn't just what exists, it's what can exist under the current uses. That's what it says, under the current uses. You could never redevelop anything to a new code if it was judged on non-conforming properties that don't meet all of the things that we've already talked about. And so that's why we didn't go to 46 feet, or we reduced it to 42. So it's a 6 foot, essentially 6 foot within your discretion. It's not a variance, it's allowed by the code. It's not a variance. It's something that we're allowed to do with your approval, if we prove it to you that it is the right thing to do. And again, I understand it's subjective, but if the standard for Skinner is going to be single-family homes that are no longer allowed to be developed, that's not even a permitted use, then I don't know how Skinner's ever going to get redeveloped under a downtown core. Maybe the whole thing should be. I'm not trying to be cute. It might be something. If the city's objective is to not have density and height on Skinner, maybe it should be rezoned to something else. We wouldn't want that because we've invested in this property based on the activity center and the downtown core zoning that exists, and that's what we invested in, and that's what we developed to.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I think this is time if we have anybody from the public.
I do have a follow-up question.
Uh,
Can I ask that?
Sure, go ahead and ask it.
It's probably
I'll
more to
get
George.
the public input.
And George, we've heard a lot tonight about non-conforming. And and this is a standalone lot, so it's dirt. How can dirt be non-conforming?
I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I think what they're referring to is non-conforming in the sense that the surrounding properties haven't used that full allotment of the dimensional standards that are permitted in that zoning category. In other words, they haven't maxed out their height, they haven't maxed out their density. So I think that's what he's referring to, but again, I would defer to him on that.
Oh, yeah, please. I'm sorry. I thought it was more of a code thing.
Right. What I'm referring to, and maybe if we go to the aerial, the first aerial, but you've seen it. It's basically you've got a pervious driveway, and then you've got a vacant lot that isn't draining. It has no stormwater treatment. It has nothing that is up to code in terms of what would be required for a development there. And so my main point on that is what we're doing is improving the stormwater and bringing it up to code for both sites. And right now, that's non-conforming on either site. That's what I'm mainly referring to, sir.
Okay. But you say it's not conforming on either site.
Right, on the site to the rear as well. That's right.
And so, but it goes to the property that you own. Currently, today, do you consider it conforming? It's just dirt.
It's just dirt, right. I mean, I guess the issue is that we're bringing it up to code, whereas it's not up to code right now for that site and the site to the rear. And that's why it's a problem that folks are concerned about, that they want addressed.
Do codes relate to empty lots, or is it what is put on there?
Right. So perhaps I should have said better, we're bringing it up to code or exceeding code.
It's dirt. Is it not up to code now? I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I mean, It's not draining more than just a regular piece of dirt would drain. It's not necessarily retaining water in a big storm. It's not necessarily draining in an efficient manner. But yes, it is dirt. And I mean, if this, again, we're hoping that it will be eventually redeveloped in a way that is beneficial to the city.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else before we get public input? We ready? Okay, anyone in the public wish to come forward and speak on this issue? And name and address for the record in 3 minutes. Hi, Dave.
David Ramsey, been a resident in Dunedin for over 55 years, previous owner of the same property in question. The original site plan was developed in this on this property back in 2000 and approved by the commission for, I think, a total of 11 units. I built 4 of them, and then I put it on hold for a while, and the gentleman came along, wanted to purchase it, and that's what he's trying to do at this point. It's a very good project. It will be very good to the community. The compatibility, I don't quite understand because the neighborhood is changing. You know, everything changes in this world. The property to the east is an old house that was built in the 1920s. When I purchased the property in '92, there was 3 old houses on the property, and I used this as my office for a period of time until my foot went through the floor, and that's when I had to buy a new building and develop the project. So I'm very much encouraged to see this being done. It's better than what I did. I wish I'd thought of this to begin with, and it would have been very similar to that. Any questions to me?
No, but thank you, Dave. Appreciate
Okay.
your inputs.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public wish to come forward and speak on this issue? Again, name and address for the record and 3 minutes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm William Labrie. I live at 451 Palmetto Street. I'm in one of the properties directly to the north of the 3-story that's there, and I just think these gentlemen are right. It doesn't fit. If you look in the area, everything's 1 and 2 stories, and it's all tastefully developed. It's not crowded. This, I believe, is going to be, it just looks like a parking garage. There's nothing tasteful about it, and it's at the highest point on Skinner Boulevard. It's just going to stick out like a sore thumb. Maybe down the road, as things develop more in the area, there might be a place for it to fit in, but right now I would have to say that it just doesn't fit.
Thank you. Did we get the name? Yeah, good. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Come on down. Name and address for the record in 3 minutes.
Excuse me, my name is Karen Hartenbach. I live at 2056 Cove Trace, Palm Harbor, Florida. We've moved here about 35 years ago, we live in Palm Harbor, but have fallen in love with Dunedin ever since we moved here. We started investing in Dunedin into single-family homes, and everything I do, I have pride in, and I like the uniqueness and just how quaint Dunedin is. The first 3 properties I bought were on Virginia Street, those 3 that were owned by the hospital. You can see that I take pride in my properties. We bought them in 2012. We invested a lot of money into them. They're still top of the line. By doing that, I now own 6 properties in Dunedin, so I feel like I'm well invested into the city. The great thing about it is because of the way I keep my properties and how I manage my properties, a lot of the customers, tenants that I have, end up buying properties in Dunedin because they rent at first and then they fall in love with the area. So I think I am a big promoter for Dunedin. I think this is unique. I think it's well done. It's tastefully done. I was a little disappointed in some of the other properties that were built on Skinner because there were so many of them and they were cookie cutter, and this piece of property kind of takes us back to the uniqueness and how special Dunedin is. As far as the compatibility, I can't speak on that. I'm nothing like that, but I just think this is something that would really add to that area. It's kind of an eyesore, that spot right now with the empty lot, and I just think this would be a great advantage for that area.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to come forward and speak on this issue? Name and address for the record in 3 minutes.
Christopher Jallo, 1410 Main Street, 1420 Main Street, 1428 Main Street, and 1144 Friendly Lane. I own all 4 of those properties currently. First, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, thank you for allowing me to speak. Members of the commission, thank you for allowing me to be here. As a developer, I also happen to be a real estate, construction, and commercial attorney, both transactionally and as a litigator. In my experience, I'm also a property owner and a real estate developer currently. I also happen to own and operate Lucan's Wine and Spirits that is at 1410 Main Street. I've been in Florida since 1990. Dunedin has been my backyard since I moved here. The marinas, the causeway, on boats and wave runners with my family. I have a pride and passion for Dunedin. We only purchased Lucan's Wine and Spirits in 2007. So, I mean, I take pride in what you guys have done to better the community. And I do think the city staff work tirelessly. It's sometimes a thankful job, even for you all. But that doesn't mean the city staff is always right. And it doesn't mean that their recommendations are always correct. There's countless amount of projects that do get recommended over their recommendation for denial or even approval. Sometimes they get denied when they recommend approval. And I had some trouble as a developer and a property owner in the city of Dunedin hearing some of the things I heard here today, knowing the code as well as I do because I've developed in this city, that just because they recommend denial, how dare it pass through ARC, LPA, the commission? What's the purpose of ARC, LPA, and this commission if we overlook what ARC recommended for approval? They recommend, they're charged, if you look at their charter, to review compatibility, the compatibility analysis and study, and determine if it's compatible. They approved it. They didn't approve it with conditions to come back to them. They approved it with conditions to go to LPA over staff's recommendation for denial. These are architects, landscape architects. Went to the LPA. They also reviewed it. They reviewed all the efforts that the property owner went to meet that compatibility, both height, design, undulations, roofs, efficiency, solar panels, parking. I drove on my way here through storms and rains. Every street, an antiquated street in the city of Dunedin with older homes, was completely flooded. I drive an SUV. I was able to drive over that flood. They are putting in a stormwater system. We did that at our property at 1410 Main Street. That property was completely flooded when we purchased it. It was vagrants, it was homelessness, and drug use. There is not a stench of water that remains on that property after we stormwatered it for the betterment of the entire community around us, the homes around us, the homes to our rear. And so when I see a developer taking that much effort to meet that compatibility, to try to better the community, and it's just going to be overlooked or denied, I hope that the commission can approve them. I know my time is up.
Yes,
I just think that
most
developers don't take their pride in what they do, and I think they have. So
Thank
I
you.
would recommend
Thank
that
you.
it be approved.
Appreciate that. Anyone else wish to come forward and speak on this issue? Name and address for the record, and 3 minutes.
My name is Sabra Rosen, and I live at 445 Palmetto Street, the one that's directly behind the current existing property. I've lived in Florida for 33 years of my 40 years of life, and I moved back 4 years ago. I've seen some wonderful changes and then some really awful ones like this. My home and other homes are already affected. The flooding is not on the street. It's in the backyard. It's clearly coming from there. And all of us are affected by this. Let's see, the building is only 10 feet from my property line. It was constructed after the homes around it were built. And then what's going to happen during construction? I'm assuming there will be more flooding that you guys will hopefully pay for any damages. I heard that the land at 434 and 444 was artificially raised, and currently it stands at 2 feet 2 inches above the height of my backyard. There's a retaining wall that's already starting to deteriorate. I have concerns about the stability of the ground, especially if we dig, the foundation and the water reservoir. I can only imagine that it will exacerbate this problem. I just received my final quote for extensive renovations on my house for $330,000. And now I wonder if it's worth putting money into my house. I know my neighbor just did a huge project as well. These houses are not just dilapidated houses. There's one or two on Skinner that could be redone, but there's lovely office buildings, restaurants, it's great. Like everyone said, or some people have said, that it looks like a giant parking garage. Someone on Facebook commented that it looks like a prison, doesn't fit in with the charm of Dunedin, and there's no reason to build something so huge. During the last meeting, the developer himself said he had to make this building 4 stories and eliminate the setbacks or whatever, so he can make more money. A 2-story, and you can go back and listen to the video. A 2-story building with an adequate setback would be much more appropriate, but ultimately not as profitable. We all know that these units will be turned into unnecessary short-term rental properties instead of permanent housing, which is badly needed. And I'm definitely not looking forward to getting caught behind the garbage and recycling trucks while they pick up 14 bins. It also seems that only developers are supporting this project, no locals. Hopefully, we can show these developers that Dunedin is not for sale. This is happening to a lot of people, and we're just setting a precedent for Skinner and the surrounding areas. I posted concerns on Facebook. Lots of people said comments like, the pictures don't fit the area. This place is turning into one huge multi-family complex like Tampa. The priorities don't align with small town values. It's just build, build, build. I hate how Dunedin is turning into Madeira, and so on.
Okay,
So,
this could wrap
thank
up.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to come forward and speak on this issue? Okay, seeing no one, I will close that public input, and I don't think there was anything that you all need to respond to, was there?
If I might, Mayor, there's just a couple clarifications I would like to very quickly make.
Okay.
Number one, I heard the term catalyst again. So, I would argue the catalyst already occurred when you look across the street of Highlands Crossing and you see a relatively new 2-story development over there. So to me, that is the catalyst that's kind of spurring this particular area. I heard reference to Flats on Main. If you'll recall, Flats on Main, where it's adjacent to that residential area, those were unincorporated properties, which allowed the residential's height to be much higher than what is normally permitted in the city of Dunedin. And again, context, that's along a 4-lane divided highway with heavy commercial influence towards the front portion of that one. I heard a comparison to the downtown industrial parking garage that they're doing on Douglas. Downtown industrial allows 52 feet in height. We landed at 43 feet on height because right next to it is the Artisan, and we said no higher than the Artisan. That's that compatibility test in concert with the context of that particular area. I also heard 36 foot in height is kind of automatic. Again, it's not. Even if it was 36 feet, that compatibility test must still be met. It has to meet those provisions. I heard about the ARC and their compatibility analysis. Their compatibility analysis is related to architecture, not land use. That's our function. So that's why you're getting our compatibility test is this. ARC is looking at it to see if it's compatible architecturally within that environment. I think that covers most of what I heard. I just wanted to clarify those particular points to make sure that there was no confusion there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. I was wondering about the 36 feet issue. Brian, any
Yes,
closing
ma'am.
remarks?
Briefly, just in rebuttal or to address comments. May I go to, I'm sorry to be interrupting you guys. Typically, we have a pointer. So, Madam Mayor, respectfully, again, there are many Dunedin residents who support this project. They're on your ARC, and they're on your LPA, and they're Dunedin property owners that were here tonight that support the project. And respectfully, this is a quote directly from the ARC minutes, based on the applicant's compatibility analysis, which was about height. That was a compatibility analysis that analyzed the height in the area. The proposed project is compatible with the surrounding area. And I can tell you from going through Main Street Exchange that height was a significant issue and the transition. There is a transition to the residential neighborhood that exists, which is that 3-story building in the rear. That seems to be the source of many complaints, which is why the LPA very thoughtfully said, you know what you can do to make this project better? You can solve that problem. You can spend an extra $300,000 and put in a storm-resistant vault for that neighborhood that currently has a problem. If this project doesn't move forward, that problem is going to continue to exist. And something hopefully will eventually be developed here, but at a height of 2 stories, there's no way that you're going to be able to put in a $300,000 storm vault. I mean, I don't know how that stormwater issue or that structured parking issue can be code compliant without that extra 6 feet of height, which again is the minimum that our architect, who's a very good architect, who again was able to address these issues with the ARC and with the LPA to their satisfaction. Just briefly again, we believe and hope, and first off, I very much appreciate you all keeping an open mind. I very much appreciate that. If I didn't believe in the project, I would not be here. If I didn't believe it was supportable, I would not be here. And I understand that we can have a respectful disagreement of opinion and respect each other at the end of the day. But we hope that we've done enough to show you that this project is a special project. It's consistent with the AC, or with the activity center, the downtown core, and the goals, objectives, of policies of the comprehensive plan, and it is compatible with your recent approvals. It's compatible with the new development approvals, and it is thoughtfully designed to be a benefit and improvement to the entire community, and also especially those adjacent and abutting property owners, with the impact fees, with the public art, with the bicycle parking, with the solar, and the sustainability and the stormwater. We would be very happy if you would vote to move this on to a second reading on May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Jen, are we able to just share our positions prior to making a motion in a second?
You can. You can have commission discussion on that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that might be good to start by just sharing our positions and then make a motion to either approve or disapprove.
Can I just add?
If you're all in agreement with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, scale, height, mass compatibility. Downtown Dunedin is extremely strong. This is not a catalyst type project.
We're good. We're good. I don't want to rebut.
Yeah.
I don't want back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and forth.
Well, as far as a catalyst, we're good.
Okay. So I guess I will start with Vice Mayor. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor.
Lead us. Please, lead us.
Yeah, I'll lead you somewhere.
Then I'll go to Commissioner Gao. Break the chain a little bit.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so, I've listened, we've all listened to both sides of this, and I will just cover the points in no particular order. First of all, I don't disagree that this project could serve as a revitalization and a catalyst. I do see the potential there. And I am also intrigued by the fact that you are willing to invest money to improve the infrastructure on that lot. Where I am stuck right now is on the compatibility issue. And, tied to that compatibility is that regardless of the set of circumstances in which the ARC approved it, and then it was passed to the LPA, and now it's with commission, there are several things in here that are somewhat I'll just say irregular, only because of the fact that it just appears to me, and that the compatibility issue, well, first of all, let me address one at a time here. Compatibility, I look at the renderings, it is significantly different than the surrounding area. The argument that I would make to oppose that, well, if you take a look at the surrounding area, that the surrounding area and the structures and the buildings and such, those were built several years ago. So you are looking again to possibly revitalize this. But the size and the shape of it as it currently stands is problematic. And, but back to the approval process, it just seems to me, regardless of the set of circumstances, that we are trying to ramrod this thing through. And I'm just wondering if there is a possibility where we can go back on the major sticking points and bring this back. The other thing that concerns me on this is just the precedence. We've made a very well, you take a look at the downtown core, nothing above 3 stories. I know that the Main Street Exchange was an exception to this. But with that said, you know, at which point do we draw the line and say we're not going to go any further? And so, you know, I guess based on this, I would personally like to see this revisited, and to characterize a position on it at this particular time, this point in time. I don't think I can support this. So.
I'm going to go to Commissioner Gao.
Thank you. You know, we talked about the uniqueness of this project and how it looks, and it's a beautiful rendering. It's nice architecture is very good on it. And we also talked about uniqueness of voices or votes, whether it's this commission or whether this commission versus LPA or the ARC. Never shy of differences. You've heard me on 2 votes tonight where I stood alone. And so it's that uniqueness that really is what Dunedin has been built on. It's not just open property where we built the same thing and it all looks the same. That everything is built almost with surgical precision and uniqueness on how it fits and what we want. We've done a lot for Skinner Boulevard, and it is truly a stunning roadway. And so the time, effort, energy, and passion that we put into that, we have to make sure that carries to what comes after it. I like the architecture. I'm concerned about it doesn't match, as the Vice Mayor mentioned, what is truly around it. And I don't want to say that it's easy, but it is easy to look down the street and around the corner. Oh, well, here's property. You know, if you widen out the lens, yeah, we can look at Meese Life, which is, what, 12, 15 stories? Oh, compatibility. 9 stories. Is it that? Wow.
It is 9 stories.
Sorry. So we talked about the difference between the garage that we voted on and the bicycle shop. And there's quite a distance between the two, and that's what tiering is for. I'm concerned about the solid waste and recycling. For the beauty of Skinner Boulevard to see all of those trash cans out. And I know you guys, that's not your realm that you look at, but that is stuff that we look at. Those are the things we're going to hear about from our residents. The open concept of a garage, and if we're trying to make Skinner Boulevard walkable, that's inviting vandalism, theft, things of that nature. And so it looks like we're trying to make it fit all kinds of categories. An open concept, kind of a condo-looking thing, but also treat it as a private home on an urban road in an urban center. And so I would be concerned if I were a buyer looking at it, but that's not what this is about today, but maybe it is, I don't know. So something does need to be built there. And the idea that Skinner Boulevard, the way it looks today, is going to look entirely different 20 years from now. And we're hoping every one of those developments that come behind what we've done there is really something we're proud of. And it meets and it matches what we want in Dunedin. Every development that comes before us, we pick it apart. And each one has been, we're really proud on what we've said yes to. So unfortunately, right now, that compatibility issue is bothering me. And as I'm proud of my votes I took earlier tonight standing alone, I also feel proud standing alone from what the LPA said or ARC said, even though no, even though I lost my train of thought there. But I really do like the architecture that's there. I'm a big fan of the zero on Skinner Boulevard, the zero setback. That's what I want to see. I want people walking down Skinner Boulevard and being able to approach residences. There's a door right there, or it's mixed use, and there's residential, or there's retail on the bottom and residential on top. And it's just, that's inviting the walkability and the energy and the excitement that you get downtown. I don't feel that energy, that vibe you want in a downtown in this project. It's 5 single-family homes, or it's townhomes. And so we're going to walk right by it when, and look at the heights on it, and because it's not conforming to the rest of the community that's surrounding it. Yet at this point, I can't conform, but I hope you stick with this project and redesign or find that sweet spot that we can work together on. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner DeGard?
Thank you, Mayor. We're 9 square miles of paradise, and everybody wants a piece of paradise. And we're jamming a lot of things into this 9 square miles. The way this comes to us is we have a decision to make. And by the way, Counselor, excellent presentation. You could have probably sold me my own home back to me the way you did that. It was beautifully done. But we have to be the ones that talk about that 6 feet. That 6 feet that we're making the decision on. If you were 6 feet less, it wouldn't be our decision. But it sits with us because it's that 6 feet. And we have to make a decision about it. Our data tells us over and over again that our citizens are feeling crowded, that we're jamming too much into our 9 square miles. Surveys we do, we're growing too fast, overdevelopment, we get it all the time. On the other hand, let me tell you, this building, if we put it up, is going to bring revenue to the community and flood control. These are positives. This one's a tough one. I got 2 voices on each shoulder telling me which way to go. And this one's going to be a tough one because I've got to listen to the residents who are feeling crowded. I've got to listen to the opportunities you're presenting. Both are pluses. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Sandberg?
You know, I spent at least 12 years on the LPA, so it's a tough spot. All you can do is do the best. You know, there's been a lot of commissioners, city managers, building officials that have been involved in writing these regulations, these, the codes that we have to live by, and they may not be perfect, but there's been a lot of time and effort put into them. You know, we spent a lot of money on that Skinner, and I know there will be a catalyst that will be the first new project, and from there we're going to build. I have to completely agree with what's been said up here. Something needs to go on that lot, but it's got to be compatible with the neighbors. This particular project, in my opinion, is not. And like I said, all my years on the LPA, I've been down this road. I've been down the road where we approved, City Commission denied, and it's tough. And so I've seen this from both ends. I'm concerned about the neighborhood. You know, when it was pointed out to me about this flooding, and I heard about it again tonight. I know we hear about that all the time, but in this particular case, I see something for that property, and I hope it happens. But this particular presentation is something that I just can't get on board with. So, with that being said, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm glad, George, you mentioned Highland Crossing. I mean, there are some new developments there that are very, they're 2 stories. And I'm not saying this has to be 2 stories, but if it's going to be 3 even, it needs to fit. I'm not really sure that ARC, when I read everything about ARC, they weren't clearly weighing in on compatibility. You know, honestly, I watched LPA when you were up there for Main Street Exchange, and when it got unanimous approval, I thought, yep, it's going to be a good project. And when it was time to vote on this project, and with all due respect, I was 100% with Deborah Kynes, and I couldn't believe it didn't get a second. But Deborah has a wealth of knowledge about compatibility in our community. I mean, she was there. She was there when it was a lot less detailed in our comprehensive plan. You know, I was here for the history of compatibility, and it's a legal principle that goes way back, and Step Back goes way back to 2005. To me, compatibility is the life breath of protecting the charm of the city. Does it fit? And it's not a perfect science. I agree. It's not a perfect science. That's why it was trying to give clarity to it by putting it much more detailed into the code. It's important in protecting our charm, and it's got a long history of citizen input in what got us there in terms of compatibility. And Brian, I totally understand your argument about what's there and what do you want to be there. Are you going to, okay, it's all going to be one stories. I get that, but I would suggest to you that some of us up here and on staff have been here a long time. I've been here 42 years, and I was a staffer for 22 of them. And I saw incremental, balanced, smart, compatible growth that built this town when it really didn't have a lot going on. And so I have confidence that's exactly what we're going to do with Skinner. And to me, this is not hard for me. This doesn't fit. And truthfully, it feels like, and I don't mean to draw a comparison, but with Main Street Exchange, that developer did everything he could do to work with our staff, and our staff's good. I don't follow our staff randomly into every recommendation, but they're good, and they know because they've been here, and they know what our citizens feel, you know, what Dunedinites feel about compatibility. So yeah, I do listen to them because they do. They keep a lot of stuff from getting to us, so we don't waste a lot of money and people's time by saying, no, it's really not a fit. So incremental balanced growth, and that's exactly what we need to do for Skinner. It's going to be a gem. It's already started to become that gem, and we need the right kind of catalyst. And with all due respect to the project, to me it's not the right kind of catalyst, and I think there were warnings that it might not fit for what we believe would fit for the city. So I can't support it. But anyway, on that note, I need a motion to, it looks like, well, I'll just leave it. A motion to
Madam Mayor,
approve
I'm
or
sorry
deny.
to interrupt. We would be willing to withdraw the application at this time, so we would like to withdraw the application and take the feedback that we received from the commission and go back with staff. So at this time, we'll be withdrawing the application, but we very much appreciate your feedback and look forward to working with staff going forward.
Okay,
Thank
and I assume that's fine?
Absolutely. The applicant is the master of their application. They can withdraw it if they so choose.
If you have any additional feedback, please let us know. But
Okay,
we
will do.
appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Okay, and again, I do want to say, we do appreciate you trying to invest in this city, so I don't want to leave it with a bad note. Okay, so the withdrawal, and we'll close that item.
We don't.
One clarification.
Sure.
With the withdrawal, how can a process proceed? Just give me some feel for this. This is a new one.
I would have to try, actually, it's a new one for me too, so.
So with them, they've withdrawn their application, so it hasn't been denied.
Do they go back to zero? Do they pick up at a spot? What do we do?
They would have to reapply to move on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go to the proposed agenda. Hold on. Proposed agenda for April 16th. Anything that needs to be added, or?
Mayor, we have a consent item, Leland Chase Outdoor Gallery Public Art Project, and action item 3A should be first reading, not second reading.
Okay, great. I was wondering about that. I said, yeah, okay, okay. All right, you're good, city manager?
I'm sorry.
Agenda.
Actually, I was on the wrong agenda.
Okay, we'll give you a sec.
I need to get back to it, though, because I don't know.
It was the historic preservation.
Because once, and you're good, that should be the first reading, not the second reading? Okay. Okay, so all in favor of?
Motion. Motion.
Oh, sorry.
Move to
Then-
approve.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, and now we're going to go to commission discussion and comments. So starting with Commissioner Gao.
Highland Games are coming up.
No.
Yeah, they are. Surprise. Surprise. That's all that I have right now. I'll let Rob talk about ROTC.
Okay. All right, Commissioner DeGard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm a little troubled tonight because this is the second time that we faced a circumstance where we have a recommendation from a lower committee that conflicts with a staff recommendation, that we are basically in ball toss time. If that occurs again, I'd like to discuss, and I don't know that even we need this occasion that it happens again, representation from the lower committee so they can speak to their points. Their points were not defended by them in any way, just the notes, and we looked at the recordings. So when we know that's the case, I'd like to have the chair of that committee come forward, tell us their thinking, because that may tip me in a way in the future.
I mean, I'm going to say one thing that I think is, I think it's up to them to articulate in the LPA meeting, and maybe we need to educate better to the articulation, because I watched the whole LPA meeting, and it really didn't get a lot of clarity within it in terms of most of the members. But I think it's, the word is we should educate them to be more clear on exactly, you know, as their total membership, not just one or two people, about why they feel or don't feel there's merit to some issues. Because, so say what you think, because.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say something similar with that, is so if they're, you know, if the applicant and staff, I think, are on the same page, it's going forward, and the LPA supports it, that's like the easiest situation.
Certainly.
And you have all that information. But I think to the extent that there is some disagreement from one of the boards on what's being presented, they're not following staff, or staff and the applicant are at odds, then maybe in those situations we ask that they please provide some detail on the decision that they're making. Maybe what they do is they go similarly to what you did this evening, is each one speaks about, you know, what they feel about the decision that they're making and their rationale behind that. And that's something that can be done, we can prompt them somewhat, because, you know, we're sitting, if it's not me, it's one of the attorneys from my firm that are sitting at those boards, and we can say, you know, one of the requests that's been from the commission is they really want to understand what was influential in your decision. And so, and ask them to please state that so you have that information.
I just find that our trying to interpret a lower committee to be a little like divining something. And if they have a feeling about something and they wish to articulate it, I think, and there's a difference between staff and that committee's view. I'd like to hear from the committee as well as staff. Tonight, I got to hear from staff. I would like to respect those committees to the extent that if they have a differing point of view, they have the opportunity to present it to us. That's my thoughts.
I'm just concerned about having them actually speak at a public hearing and become part of our public hearing process. And again, it's not unusual at all for the commission to not agree all the time with LPA. And yeah, you can speak to that, Commissioner. And sometimes it's, you know, in some of my memory, it would be because, you know, I mean, some of these projects, we've had less people. The place would be packed with people against certain projects, and that would drive, you know, a lot of different feelings of, you know, sometimes on the LPA, people would just, I mean, it was a little scary. I don't know how else to say it. But I do think actually making them part of our public hearing process and coming forward to speak, I'd like to find a different solution, because I just think, and I'm getting head shakes. You have any thoughts on all this too?
No, but I know that the first time we voted in favor of something and the city commission denied it, I kind of took it a little personal because I wondered what I did wrong. But I see where Tom is going, but I think that now I make it a point to go out and watch the video of it and kind of get a feel for what they're getting at. I don't know.
The only ones that watched the full video. I went through the whole thing.
Right. I mean, and to bring them up here, I don't know, it could be a little awkward, and it's not my decision. I mean, if they want to come forward even as a citizen, but, you know, the LPA does a good job. Right, right.
They can be here. It's just that when they put forward an idea.
Can we get the city manager's thoughts?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor and Commission. I think actually what we would have to be very careful as well about how we convey that to whatever board or committee it is, as far as staff goes. If it's conveyed the way Jennifer had said, that the commission would probably like to know more about why it is you're making this recommendation, as opposed to staff saying, well, why did you make that recommendation? It's not the recommendation you know, so I think that it actually puts staff in a bad position.
Right.
But I'll give you an example,
Which I
though,
did
of,
tonight, so
yeah.
That's right on. I agree.
Yeah, but then there's an example Board of Finance reports out to you. And we don't agree with a lot of what's in the Board of Finance report when we're doing the budget. So it might be something in terms of, with a committee in particular, as you may know, it's usually, well, then write a letter to the City Commission, and the whole committee has to, you know, approve it, and it goes to the City Commission. And there's one coming to you actually soon, because the Board of Finance just recently
Don't you think a quasi-judicial board is different than
Yeah,
just another? I think this is getting a little.
So what I would say with that is the evidence, now, it hopefully will be the same or similar when it comes to you, but the evidence that's presented to them at the time is what they have. So there may be something post-LPA that gets submitted to staff that LPA didn't have that in their packet when they were considering it. So they're making a decision on the evidence that's presented to them at the time. I think what's beneficial is potentially to encourage them to explain what evidence was persuasive to them that led them to that decision. And I think that could be beneficial as to why they're doing that. Here, you're supposed to judge on the evidence that's presented to you. And so them explaining their decision isn't necessarily presenting you with evidence. It's, you have to rely on what the applicant is providing you and what the substantial and competent evidence that's provided from any member of the public, and then also what's provided to you by staff.
Yeah, so, no, I agree, but I think just the quasi-judicial piece of this really makes this about checks and balances. And, you know, I appreciate Commissioner DeGarde's point on this. But to that point, you know, we do our homework. We know where it turned out, but at the end of the day, that's one data point in terms of how, at least I view things, and essentially that data point is weighed equally with everything else that gets presented to us at this point in time. Because if we're trying to kind of sort through the rationale and everything else, it's almost like we're trying to come to agreement. And agreement is not necessarily required. We need to be able to view this as an independent body, in my opinion.
I think we came to a good decision tonight. This is not an impeachment of how we came to what we came to. I guess it's more of a respect I wish to have for the efforts of our committees and what they're doing. And that when we go contrary to what a lower committee, whether it's quasi-judicial or just an advisory committee, I want to hear what their thoughts were beyond what was on the recordings and the votes at the time, because you and I both know that oftentimes a vote will be swung by the simplest of things in there, and it's not based on factual, it's based on something else, a moment of time. And there were two sides to this. The first side was, of course, we want development, but we don't want to crowd our community. We don't want to overgrow it. And so we were in that same place, and they fell on the side of growth, and we fell on the side of preservation. Both are good positions. There's nothing wrong with either position. It's just I want to make sure that the relationship between the city commission and our lower committees is one where it's open and they have the opportunity to express themselves when there is a conflict between the committee and the staff. When the committee comes forward with a thought and it's complementary or consistent with staff, I don't think we have a problem. That's not the problem. I'm not looking for input then. I am looking for understanding when that's not the case. That's all.
Can that understanding, Tom, be met with meeting with them? Instead of them coming to one of our meetings, just say, hey, Kevin, are we allowed to do that?
Oh, I'm not going there because there's some people in the sunshine world that think that's wrong. I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
So
Again, I mean, what I would say is, this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. So to your question on that, I would much rather be in a public setting with the evidence that you need in making the decision as to either they met the criteria that was required in the code and you're going to make that decision or you're not, and or they didn't and you're going to deny it. I fully understand what you're saying about respecting them, and to that point, I think it's just sidebar here. It was valuable that you have that discussion here for their benefit, and that you also, explain why you decided the way that you did, so they can understand what that distinction was. But if I'd like to try it with legal prompting them and reminding them that the commission would, if they could please explain, because the commission always wants to know if it's not all uniform. And see if they could do that.
with the conversation we're having, and for now, maybe we workshop this at some point.
Okay.
I will say staff actually did a lot more work on compatibility for this presentation, because I watched the other one, so that could be. And I do think there's some term limits issue here. I don't mean to be having back a term limit issue, because I think you've lost a lot of the history on there, and I think they're all good people, but compatibility has a long history. And if you don't have some of that, I think that maybe the nuances weren't as strong to them. But I guess I need to ask the city attorney. I was fully intending to meet with Chair Benjamin after this decision was done, just in general about the LPA, and I mean that's okay, right?
Well, that would be.
Yeah, and so that and to me, because again, we want to respect what they do, and so, but I told him I don't want to talk until after this is done, because I don't want to roam into that. And then, because, obviously he wants to do the best job as the new chair that he can possibly do. So there was something you said there that made me a little uncomfortable. So, okay, sounds good. I think it's a good discussion. Anything else, Tom? Commissioner
I
Dugard?
apologize. By the way, I think you won the over-under on my own rhetoric.
Okay, commission discussion, comments, Vice Mayor?
Yes, 1 second.
Okay.
So a couple of things. So the check presentation by Congresswoman Luna and to PSTA, I think that was great. It was nice to be able to, and this is really more of a shout out to the city and to the staff. You know, it's kind of nice when you get to that point where it's you're starting to realize that the end is in sight. And I will say, in my remarks, this is what recovery looks like. So, well done, city manager. Well done to the staff, and it was definitely a feel-good moment for me. Another feel-good moment, and you know, I'm going to share this. I think Jeff and I share this passion with the Dunedin High School Navy Junior ROTC. But so basically, I'll summarize. Falcon Navy is one of the best JROTC units in the nation. 15th overall out of 700 units. They are competing in 2 different divisions. First of all is all service and then Navy. They've had several cadets that have placed in individual drilling events in the top 10. And they, you know, this is you know, and to think that, okay, we here in Dunedin, 38,000 people, we have a junior ROTC unit that performs at this level is just amazing to me. And I've been involved with ROTC units forever. And I will say I've never seen a group that this more passionate and more squared away than this group is. And so I guess my point in this is that, you know, this is just kind of the question I have is I think as the city, as the commission, it would be great to provide recognition to them here in a public forum. So that's my ask on that. So other than that, I know I'm missing something, but I'm a little bit of a haze right now. So
Bet you are.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Yeah, during that conversation, I didn't mean to have my back to you guys, so I apologize. Commissioner Sandberg?
Really nothing else to add to that, Mayor?
Hey, you maybe you have a better memory. The email that Chris Settle from the high school sent us about the donation.
Yes.
Did you want to mention that?
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool.
I had heard that was something that was being worked on. Thank you to, of course, one of our best community partners in the Blue Jays. Donated, I'm not sure how the money was raised, if it was right from the Jays Foundation, $2,500 to the Dunedin girls softball team to purchase, I believe it was cleats and maybe some other equipment. And that was, you know, I knew that was in the making, and that's really wonderful to share and, you know, to spread it. And a lot of times we hear about goes to the baseball, and this time it went to specifically the girls softball, and it's nice to see them get their recognition also.
Yeah, I think it's kudos to the Blue Jays. They do a lot for the community. And it was funny, there was something on Facebook, I won't say exactly what it was, but it wasn't very nice, about a couple of the Blue Jay banners still up, because obviously they were thinking, oh, Rays are our local baseball. And I'm so happy to say that there was about 200 comments that followed that post, and they ate that guy's lunch for posting it, because about how important the Blue Jays are to the city of Dunedin, and what's wrong with you?
Right.
Why would you post
Somebody
that?
even wanted, remember, somebody asked us if they could take them off the poles.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They love them. Anyway, just a couple things. I was kind of excited today because my nephew just made a deal with the Fenway to bring his 18 team members with his business here. They were going to go to St. Pete, but somehow they ended up at the Fenway, and they're going to be at one of our local restaurants when they're here too. So I was excited. He loves Dunedin. Everybody that comes here loves Dunedin, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, Jennifer, I was just going to comment that I went with Bob Ironsmith to meet with Bill, I can never say his, Mazas. Is that close enough? And he was super nice, him and his wife. They've got a lot of creative thinking going into that Main Street Exchange, including what they're going to name it and just what's going to be in it. And it was actually.
The Main Street Exchange isn't the name?
I'm not saying anything. So that may be the bigger name, but anyway, so. But they've got some interesting creativity, and let me tell you, it's all with the heart of Dunedin, like the things that we all care about. So it's pretty cool. The one thing he did do, though, was he did a big build-out of the traffic control device, the newer one that could potentially go on that corner. And it was insane. I took a picture. So, Jorge, we need creative minds here because, computers are getting smaller and traffic signals that are smart get bigger. We've got to work on some stuff with the county because that just isn't going to work there. It's a whole different intersection than one. So I'm just saying, so, and I'll help. I'll help. I know some people.
I know a guy.
I know some people. Anyway, and just remember Friday night, of course, Happy Easter, because this weekend's at Easter, but next Friday night, I won't be there because I will literally be officiating a wedding and be at a reception for the golf cart thing and down Main Street for the night before the Highland Games, but I will absolutely be there at the Highland Games, so. That's it for me. So city clerk update.
Nothing new to report, Mayor.
Okay, city manager update.
Just attach some grant applications for your information.
City attorney update.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, so unless there's anyone wants to argue, shall we adjourn the meeting? Yes? Adjourned.
I wanted to wait 10 minutes.